be right with you. Hope you guys are doing well tonight. Having a slight issue with OBS. I think I can get it sorted in just a sec. We got things coming online piece by piece over here. Here we go. Okay, that looks better. Welcome everybody. I hope you're doing well this evening. It's good to see you. How's it going, Darth Magog? How's it going, Saria? Hope you've had a good week. Saria, I saw your post in Discord. You said your own little timeline map. That looks to me like the most intricate and well-constructed and thorough mapping of Zelda lore that I have ever seen, period. So if this is your idea of a little map, I'm slightly terrified at what your idea of a mega map would be. This is my attempt to tell you that it looks awesome. Congratulations, and hope to see it when it's done. Again, seriously, not to pressure you at all, I promise, but this is the sort of thing that I think people would love in the form of a video or something else. I hope that if you do, like, finish it, or get to a point where you want to share it, that you will at least share that thing that you made in some sort of public forum, because, I mean, I've actually been trying to learn more about the Zelda lore, and like inspired by some of the stuff you've been talking about and the stuff that we talked about on stream as well, about like you know, the previous incarnation of Link being the skeletal figure that teaches Twilight Princess Link sword techniques and stuff like that, things that I didn't realize before. So yeah, I think people would really get a kick out of that if you're interested in it. But yeah, I hope you're doing well. I also realized that I need to go back and play Skyward Sword. I forget if we talked about this on Thursday, but I feel like Skyward Sword has kind of a bad, like I thought it had a bad rep, mostly from that Game Grumps sequelitis video or whatever, but I'm now realizing that it's probably like a lot better, or that it probably has a lot more going for it. I think Neryl was a video, I saw one of his videos comparing Skyward Sword to Breath of the Wild, and I was like, oh, this looks pretty good, I gotta go check it out. Yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. Darth Magog says, Lord Magog standing by, Big John coming up to the first 100. I know, it's crazy. Like, I am genuinely, like, surprised in a good way, and just, you know, grateful. I was really surprised when I got 10 subscribers, for the first couple of videos. This is not like an attempt at a humble brag or whatever. Like, I think the videos that I put out are of decent quality and all that, but, like, I really, do no work at self-promotion apart from like posting on Reddit once a year or something. Say, Luca, it's okay, buddy, dinner soon, okay? Sorry, my cat's complaining. It's not dinner time for him yet though. But yeah, it's like you know, I've been lucky that people have just kind of found the stream, I guess. I don't even know how. I know some people have shared it, and I'm grateful for that, because you know, cool people have showed up and we've had like fun conversations and stuff, so I really do appreciate that. And like every once in a while I'll just get a little notification that somebody subscribed, and I'm like, oh cool, this is awesome. So yeah, I'm excited. Originally I was going to do, like, I was going to see if I got to 128 subscribers and then do a celebration, because I thought, like, oh, let's do something little different. Like, let's do multiples of 8, right? Like, it's like 8, 16, 64, 32, 64, etc. But it feels kind of weird to not at least say thank you at getting to the big 1 0 and then another O. So I'll probably, like, send out a message, and then I'll, like, do a like a little celebratory stream at some point. Thank you all for being part of that, and for being so, you know, friendly and encouraging. And also to the folks that have been more, like, challenging in terms of, like, testing ideas and stuff like that. It's been, it's been really, really great. Honestly, sorry, I don't know what I would do with 10,000 subs. I think that would be too much pressure. I like the size of our chats. Like, I hope more people, come by, not necessarily even simultaneously, but just like, it's always nice to hear more opinions. But I feel like even with like 5 or 6 people in the chat simultaneously, I want to get to everybody's questions, and sometimes I feel bad because I'm not keeping up. So I don't really want the chat to get much bigger per se. But if it brings more people in to have a more like varied conversation, like different viewpoints, and things that I haven't considered before, just like different perspectives, that's always super fun. But yeah, thank you genuinely very much for the support. Sorry, are you back from your trip now? Are you having a chance? Did you have the chance to have the second meeting with Chloe? Hopefully that went okay. And Darth, I'd be curious if your projects are coming along, your editing is coming along okay. Are you having fun with that? Are you making some good progress? Excuse me. I myself have been a little burnt out this week. I've been doing a lot of like work, working some overtime. It's fun. We're in this phase in the project where everybody's kind of like heads down and pushing towards a big goal, and so there's like this kind of double-edged sword of stress, but also you see a lot of things coming online at the same time, and there's a kind of like in the trenches camaraderie that emerges. Like we I think when there's not a specific deadline in mind, sometimes in game dev you can kind of get into this situation where you're like, you take things a little bit easy. You're a little bit exploratory, so to speak. You're not like too worried. And also you can kind of justify that by saying, oh well, like senior management doesn't really understand, or the production doesn't really understand that like what the game is supposed to be, and like we don't have a voice anyway. But like there's a certain almost like justified laziness that can kind of creep in when you start to feel cynical and you start to feel like, I don't know, less invested in the project for whatever reason, usually politics or I don't know, featured gerrymandering or whatever from the powers on high. But then once things start to get into like a lockdown mode, it's like, okay, no, we're all in this together. This thing is coming out and it's going to be put before the world, so to speak, and it's going to have all of our like signatures on it. And so let's get each other's backs, and nothing else really matters. Like none of the politics matter, none of the silliness in production or in direction really matters. We just need to make sure that like somebody's going to stay late tonight, and they're either going to stay late on their own, or we're going to stay late with them and we're going to help them, and we're all going to go home a little earlier. That kind of mentality kicks in, and then it just becomes fun because you're just like, looking out for each other, and you're like egging each other on, and it can get a little toxic because it's like you have to be careful to not let that consume your life, right? You have to set boundaries and stuff like that. But in short bursts, it can be a lot of fun. You get a lot done. And then there's a huge like collective sigh of relief when that's all done. So up through maybe this coming Thursday, it'll be tapering off, and then I think next weekend I'll be able to basically just be like, oh, okay, now that's behind me, and then post-mort, meaning like do a review and analysis of how things went and try to figure out better next steps. So yeah, let's see. Time to analyze magic spinny eyes. Yes, exactly. It's interesting, like going through the first few chapters, there are terms like spellcaster, and illusion and stuff that get used more frequently. Like I don't know if this is just a Viz translation doing a shoddy job or whatever, but if we assume for a second that it's accurate, then the abilities of things like the Sharingan are described as having more of like a magical, or at least like preternatural, if that's the right term, if not outright supernatural quality to them. The term magic spell comes up like quite a bit, so it's kind of interesting to see how that was then made more biological. Whether you think that's a retcon or whether it's just like details that we didn't have initially later on. But yeah, that's kind of cool. The Obito, yeah. So sorry, Obito eye drops. What are you referring to with the Obito eye drops thing? Do you mean like the eye drops that supposedly poisoned Itachi and gave him his illness? Is that what you're talking about? I'm curious to know what the lore is there. Saria says, oh no, we're still in New York because the second showing is on the 24th. Oh, okay, gotcha. So I've been extremely exhausted socially, but I've been happy that I've not been being forced out of the hotel. Oh, that's great. So you're able to kind of retreat a little bit and decompress and like get like overstimulated. That's good. Yeah, I find that very valuable to like be able to kind of put a toe in and then withdraw when it comes to like socially like highly stimulating situations, meaning like like crowds and parties and stuff like that. Thankfully, I have friends who totally get it. Like I've managed to be lucky enough to have a small friend group of people who are also have similar quirks, and so inevitably, like I told you recently, right? Like we went to this book club retreat where we were all there with families and stuff, and there was always like at least a couple of people who were just hiding in a corner somewhere, and nobody was like, "Oh my god, are you okay? Like, what's wrong with you? Are you crying? Are you sad? Do we have to take care of you? Oh my god, you're such a drag." Like, that never happened once. It was always just this immediate understanding of, "Oh, okay, they're resting. Like, they need a minute, and like my turn is gonna come up soon too, right?" So, um, oh, Kid Obito has eye drops, but for some reason in Storm 3 it gave him a stat boost. Interesting. Oh, that's really cute, actually. You're right. You're right. And he wears those big ass goggles too, right? I forgot about that. Yeah, we were supposed to go over the. Maybe we'll do that as a break at some point. We were supposed to go over Kakashi Retsuden, or not. Sorry, we did that ad nauseum. The Kakashi Gaiden, right? The story when he and Obito are kids, and then he gets crushed under the rock and all that stuff. I forget if we actually did that during the geography streams, but I wanted to talk about like the maybe we did because we were talking about like the tactics and like getting to the border and stuff like that. I don't know, but yeah, I forgot about that detail. It's crazy how many little details there are in that are in the series. And talking to different people about Naruto, you have different folks who are like everybody has the little things that stick out to them and that nobody else remembers. There's like little details that were appealing to them in particular. So it's always kind of cool to pick up on like which ones belong to which people, so to speak. So it's cool that you notice that. Darth Magog said, "Can you guys get more ambitious on looser timelines?" It really depends. It depends a lot on the nature of the studio and the like learning styles or brain styles or whatever you want to call it of the people working there. So for me, as much as I like hope no potential recruiters or even current employers or whatever are listening to this because I'm about to admit something that probably doesn't look good on a resume. I am not very self-motivated. I need to have, we talked about this last week, I think, right? Like, I need to have something that kind of like motivates me in order to, or like a mistake that I think was made, or something that is like irritating that I want to fix, or just something to kind of kick me off before I can latch into something. So I actually, there are some people who do really well when they have like, they're given a month and they're told, hey, just make something cool, right? That people thrive in that environment. Like Valve, I don't think it's literally like this, but from what I've heard from people who work at Valve, they have a very open dev process where it's essentially, you don't get hired like as an artist or as a sound designer so much as you get hired as a, whatchamacallit, a developer, right? And you kind of just help out wherever you want, and you're kind of given a lot of leeway to just like, you could be like, hey, I have this really cool idea, I'm going to go away for a month and make it, right? And as long as you come back with something at the end of the month, then it's like, yeah, okay, awesome. And people there make amazing shit by doing just that. I would have a, nightmare. It would be a nightmare for me to try to do that. For me, it's like a lot of the projects that I've started, including this channel, have just been me being interested in something and then noticing something and being like, wait, no, that's not right. Or, hey, we need this thing. Or, hey, we can make that better. And then latching onto that. So I actually kind of like, there's this weird wave that kind of washes over development studios where we have those exploratory phases where half the team are getting amazing shit done, and then the other half are just like twiddling their thumbs and watching like Hulu or whatever. And then like that slowly starts to transition as those people who need more structure start to notice, oh wait, I can help with that, or hey, can I tweak that, can I make that better, or hey, can I just like work on this with you? And then all of a sudden, there's this cool synergy that kind of culminates towards the edge of the project. It really does vary greatly, and I'm glad to say that development teams these days are doing a better job of just kind of finding out how people's brains work and learning to harness that, as opposed to just saying like, this is the way we do this and that's it, right? There's still places like that, but yeah, it's getting better, I guess. So does that answer your question? Oh, hey, Dr. Strangle, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by. I think I heard you, were you in the Lilo's Adventure stream again on the the light speed Naruto. I think I heard you in there laying down the law, so to speak. That was cool. Appreciate you helping people understand things better. Dr. Strangle said, I just hopped in the stream after a long text convo where I would have to read my quotes slowly out loud for the person to acknowledge the quote and the source. Oh my god, and then you got your head banging against the wall. Yeah. Unfortunately, I feel like that's a pretty common occurrence. Good for you for maintaining your calm and like managing to kind of read things out like that. Sounds like it could be pretty exhausting. Did you get to a point where you were able to have them understand your perspective at all, or was it just like banging your head against the wall the whole time? And hopefully you were able to resolve something. Yeah, again, I forget whether it was FOD or Mr. Narrative or whoever uh, referenced or referred me to Alilos, but I've been like this channel here. I've been really enjoying the streams. I listened to these two, and even though I don't know anything about Luffy, I did really enjoy this kind of basically. I really like the way that he talks to people in debates. He asks questions. He's genuinely curious. He genuinely seems to want to know how people think about things and how they feel about things, and just like understand it from a relative newcomer's perspective. And I think that somebody mentioned this in the comments. I think that maybe he's like a little too agreeable about some people who come in with partial understandings. Like he's the same way that I am, like he, or especially used to be, like he's very willing to just be like, oh well, I have 2 or 3 people in chat saying this, so this must be true. I'm just gonna go with that for now. But for the most part, he just does a good job also of just like looking for scans and trying to point out contradictions and stuff like that. And the people who have been showing up have been relatively calm as well, like especially compared to like a Noodle stream or something like that. And then Weeaboo Warrior also did a debate recently, which was fun to listen to as well. What fuck? I feel bad. I don't remember the topic because my brain is so fried. Yeah, I think it was this one, Frieza's Only Planet Level. That was an interesting one as well. I wound up disagreeing with the person he was debating. I think he did win this debate, but it was sort of interesting to see where that other person was coming from in terms of whether or not they thought like Planet Namek's destruction entailed a like a planet level event or a galaxy level event or whatever else. So, and again, like it's some of the same quote unquote problems that you hear between different debates. You know, this consistent misunderstanding of terms like planetary is something that shows up quite a bit. I think I was talking in the comments section of this video here about, oh yeah, I forgot the Kakashi one as well. But yeah, I was talking in the comment section to somebody about how like they think that blowing up the moon, which Tonari cutting through the moon counts as a planetary level feat because the moon is a planetary body, and that was an act of destruction against a planetary body, therefore, or a celestial body, I think was the term that he used. So it's like it's a celestial body, and so it was an act of destruction against a celestial body, therefore it counts as base minimum planetary. And it's like, I don't think that guy is trying to be an asshole or try to be stupid or anything. I think it's just like there are these terms that get misunderstood, and like there is a genuine misunderstanding, like just a confusion about the fact that like some people say, okay, there's a sphere in the sky, and if you can break that, then you're planetary, and they genuinely believe that, right? So it is kind of fascinating to see the and to be fair, right, to be clear, it's not necessarily their fault. It's just these things that kind of get passed around and absorbed and misunderstood. So I appreciate the fact that folks like Lilos are, you know, trying to maintain these open forums where people can then like come in and have those discussions in a way that they don't feel like they're being attacked or like they're gonna have like be chased down or whatever if they say something a little silly. You know, it's a friendly forum for that, and so I appreciate that. Go check out this guy's channel and check out these recent debates. You know, the Lightspeed one, I'm sure you've heard some of these arguments here as well, but I think he did a good job of kind of approaching the topic overall. And then Dr. Strangle has been there, right? You've been there a couple times trying to help clear stuff up, so it's been pretty good. Oh yeah, the Weeaboo Warrior debate is good. Like Weeaboo is in general like a pretty affable, pretty friendly guy from how I've like my interactions with him. He stopped by and checked out the well, not apparently, he checked out the first uh Kakuzu versus Pain video that I was doing and left a nice comment, so I really appreciate that. Um, and as you know from those early videos, if you've seen those, I like it was his debate against Noodles that kind of made me want to start talking about the debate stuff more and start streaming in the first place. So yeah, shout out to him as well, and I think he handled that debate pretty well. I know, Mr. Narrative, if you're if you're watching, I know that you and I will probably disagree about the conclusion of that debate, and actually, I'd be happy to talk about that either on stream or in VC later. I think it was just like again like a misunderstanding in terms more so than any kind of like malice of forethought or whatever. But yeah. So let's see. Yeah. I knew that was your. Oh yeah. It's funny. Darth Magog says, "Yeah, it's so." Okay, yeah. So, yeah, it's sometimes it's tough to verbalize, I guess, because you kind of there are certain things that just feel so intuitive, like you just understand them internally so well, but then it becomes difficult to kind of articulate them, if that makes any sense. And then it's sometimes surprising. Like I surprise myself, like why is this so hard to say? Like why is this so hard to explain this? Just because I realize I've never really talked about it much before. So I don't know. But yeah. Oh, sorry, said Frieza and his peener head transformation. Yeah. Have you seen the Dragon Ball Z abridged transformation where he like turns into the alien from Aliens and then he has like the little head come out of his mouth? That's great. Yeah, it's the thing with that feat. It's like well, I guess I shouldn't like delve into that too much now, but just suffice to say that I think a lot of what I see in both the Naruto debates and the Dragon Ball debates and stuff like that is that we'll get attached to like emotionally to the series as we go through, and we'll develop our own headcanon and our own like ideas about how impressive subjectively a given event is, right? And then there are just due to the sort of like confusion in terms, if you in your head see Frieza as a galaxy level threat, right? Like he's the sort of person who will threaten the galaxy, could destroy the galaxy, whatever that means to you. And then somebody comes along and says like, well, he is only planetary. It sounds like they're just downplaying the overall threat or even the overall I saw your message, Saria. The overall like majesty of Frieza, and maybe even like undercutting your opinion and your investment in him as a character. But what that person might really be saying is just purely in power scaling terms, purely in terms of whatchamacallit, purely in terms of just like the power scaling numbers and all that. Frieza doesn't fit like the VSB category or the character stats and profiles wiki category or whatever else of planetary. That doesn't mean, or of galaxy level or solar system level or whatever else it is, right? It's not that he's not a cool villain, or not that he's not somebody who could potentially threaten everyone and everything in the entire universe. Potentially, but it's the way that he does that just might not match with the definition that then we're using to mean something very specific in power scaling terms, right? And so that's it kind of makes me wonder about like where all this misunderstanding is coming from, because it seems to me like the power scaling terminology is relatively straightforward, but also like I've made mistakes. Like I've been doing this for a little while now. And I think Dr. Strangle, you were pointing out to me, right? Or was it Kona that was saying that like I didn't really get the difference between AP and DC? Like I sort of did, but I wasn't considering like joules versus what's the other unit? Like newtons of force correctly. So there's probably like subtleties to it that even folks who have been involved in it for a while just like don't fully grasp. So, little leniency, little compassion, so to speak. I think makes sense. Why did Obito, says Saria, wear goggles instead of getting prescription glasses? Is he stupid? Let's discuss. And yeah, Megog's response there is 100% correct. I think he is really stupid. It's weird. Like Naruto characters have like this sort of paradoxical like dichotomy of being really, really, really dense about certain things while also being like brilliant tactical geniuses about other things. Um, and so it's like it's kind of interesting to see how that manifests. I think with Naruto, it's sort of the opposite, right? Where like Naruto is kind of a doofus, and some people see him as being just generally genuinely stupid. But when it comes to tactics and like battlefield manipulation and stuff like that, he is. I don't think it's any exaggeration to see that to say that he's a genius, right? Like he is extremely clever, and the like cognitive flexibility that he has, his ability to innovate, his like flexibility. Did I already say that? Yeah, like his I don't know, um, everything that he accomplishes, especially early on, is a result of innovation. And so it's not even just like complex problem solving, it's lateral thinking, which is a like kind of rare and special kind of intelligence. I think like I don't know if that's true actually. I don't know how rare high lateral thinking skills are, but I would think it would be. Um, as much as like being a math genius would be. It's a different kind of reasoning skill, right? Uh, but he's portrayed as a doofus elsewhere. So it's like you have these like weird savants or anti-savants that just have like highly focused, highly specific sorts of intelligences in the series, which is really cool. But then of course you have characters like Shikamaru who are just kind of smart across the board, although they might be underachievers or whatnot. It might actually be fun to do a you know a stream discussing how intelligence and reasoning are portrayed, because there are like people think of you're either smart or you're not, you're either like mentally competent or not really. But my understanding is that there are multiple intelligences, multiple learning styles, and then the intersection of things like cognitive reasoning and cognitive flexibility and memory and stuff like that. And there's a lot that kind of goes into it. So I'd be curious to see like what Kishimoto's perspective is on that stuff. Dr. Strangle says, I want to get some of the Sage People server in the Lilo stream, as there are some real human encyclopedias of Naruto in that server. I am only that for One Piece. Yeah, I think that would be really cool to see. I mean, I was pretty consistently impressed by how quickly people were able to reference scans and translations, and then obviously folks in there are quite a few people who seem to be able to translate from Japanese very well. Like I used some of their scans on stream before. Even Sage, like my gripes or disagreements with Sage in the past have been about his lack of like flexibility on certain topics, and like lack of curiosity, desire to like dig deep and really understand certain things. But in terms of knowledge, like not only does he know a lot about the series, but he's actually able to quickly recall a lot of references and a lot of scans and facts and stuff like that, in a way that I think he can and often does contribute positively to discussions, especially with knowledge retrieval. It's just sometimes the conclusions that he comes to based on that knowledge, I wind up differing, um, as I've probably made pretty clear, but that's fine. So yeah, that server does have a lot of smart and well knowledged people in it. It would be nice if those things intersected. And then like so the folks on the Walkie Talkie podcast, I forget who it was specifically. It might have been Kamui or Ood. They invited me to their server and they were like, "Hey, we should chat at some point." So I have been meaning to actually like hop on VC with them at some point, but I'm honestly I'm a little shy about like VCing with folks. And then also just my schedule is kind of stupid sometimes. So, but they seem kind of cool. They seem to know what they're talking about, and I'd be curious if their paths would ever cross with the folks with like Lilo or that community. I don't know to what extent these communities overlap, but I do see some of the same people. Like I see or heard Kona's name there. I think I've seen One Smart show up in the comment sections in a few different places, so, and then Marco, I think, as well, maybe. I don't know. It's a pretty small community, honestly, so it's kind of nice to see some of the same faces from time to time. But anyway, yeah. Why did I don't know why he wore those. Honestly, I don't. I'm trying to think of characters who actually wear. Well, I mean, like, yeah. I guess like the counter argument, Saria, to the prescription glasses thing is that they would be a really bad idea in combat. Are there any characters I was thinking that actively like rely on their glasses in combat? I mean, Kabuto's glasses don't even work, right? They're just symbolic, if I remember correctly. And then I guess like Shino wears sunglasses, but that's more of an aura thing. Uh, I think I don't I don't know. It seems like it would be a really bad idea to be reliant on like fragile glassware. Oh yeah, Darth Magog says Kabuto has glasses and he's a Jonin level combatant. That's true. Ebiso seems to wear them. That's true. Yes. I thought I can't remember. I thought Kabuto's uh whole thing was like he wore those glasses because his mom gave them to him and it was like a memento, but he doesn't actually need them or something. But I don't know much about Kabuto, to be honest, so I might be wrong. Shino's shades could be prescribed, yeah. Um, that might be the case, yeah. Might just be part of his like mystery though. Um, let's see. Dr. Strangle says the difference is non-existent on Versus Battles Wiki and Curtis Stats and Profiles. I was giving you my definition that I use on my. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, that makes sense. Okay. I appreciate it though. By the way, I haven't like taken that much time to look into the math aspect of it, which you clearly know more about. So I appreciate like the fact checking there, so to speak. I'd also love a review of my volume reviews. I've been looking for feedback. Oh yeah, okay. So I'm sorry. Is that something that you've done on your website? I think you mentioned it last time. I might have just forgotten about it in the flurry of conversation. I apologize. But yeah, I'd be happy to. Why don't you feel free to send me a message in Discord. I should have some downtime especially early this week, because basically the first few days of this week at work are going to be me like I have to be part of a mix session, which means that I will be sitting in on a thing, but I'll basically just sort of be watching and making sure that nothing goes wrong. And usually it doesn't, so I'll have plenty of time to like multitask. And I should be able to get back to you quickly on that. Be very curious to hear what you come up with. So yeah, more than happy to take a look. Dr. Strangle says, I've been trying to find a video essay I watched a long time ago that goes over intelligence as a plot convenience and reference to the Sherlock TV show. Oh, is it so? H Bomber Guy did a video on Sherlock a long time ago. Could that be the one that you were thinking of? It was like Sherlock and Doctor Who, and how they didn't really understand like deductive reasoning for Sherlock or something like that. And then there was one more that I saw. Maybe it was shit, like JXC, or I'll have to think. Maybe like Lindsay Ellis or somebody like that. Shit, I had a couple like in my that I watched with a friend. I'll see if I can think of the names, but might be H1. Yeah, yeah. It was like let's just see. This one over here. Sherlock is garbage, and here's why. I never noticed everything that was going on in the thumbnail there. It's kind of cute. But yeah, there was another one like it Sherlock deductive reasoning, something like that. Maybe this one. I can't remember. Yeah, I'll see if I can. There was another channel that had like long essays on Doctor Who that I think they'd want on Sherlock too. I'll see if I can remember. Hopefully that's helpful. But yeah, I will be curious to know what you think about it. I haven't watched that show in a long time, and I have good memories of it. But I mean, like, I don't know how well it holds up. It's been a while. Sorry, it says I'm shy, Godsomi. Yeah, I am actually. And specifically, I don't know, like something about like randomly voice chatting with new people, even people who I know are friendly and cool. I don't know. There's just something in my head that's like, be concerned for no fucking reason at all. But you know, so far for the most part, like even well, apart from what the fuck is his name, Mortified, like most of the VC chats that I've had have been totally fine, you know. So Dr. Strangle says, you with the Walkie Talkie Boys would be the ultimate crossover of criminally underrated chats. Oh, thank you. That's really nice of you to say. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, those guys seem super friendly, and they're fun to listen to too. They have a positive vibe, and the topics that they bring up are interesting. I wish they would read YouTube chat more, because I'm usually not on Discord. So when I'm like trolling, and like making edgy comments or whatever, they tend not to get noticed, but that's okay. It's probably for the best. So Shino shades could be prescribed. Oh yeah, I think in the anime he wore them because he couldn't see straight and sacrificed her sight for him. Oh, okay, I gotcha. Cool. Yeah, see, by the time I get to the Kabuto part of the war, I wind up just like being so fatigued. I'm usually like researching other stuff, and I wind up getting so fatigued by everything else that's going on, and you know, like the Madara fight and the impending Jinchuriki fight with Naruto and Itachi and Sasuke, like everything that's going on, that I wind up just kind of skipping over the Kabuto stuff, because I'll usually be looking like if I'm looking specifically for something on Naruto and the Raikage, then that'll get quote unquote interrupted by the stuff happening with the fight between Kabuto and the Uchiha boys, and then that'll get interrupted by the flashback, and I'm just like, come on, I'm just trying to, like, I'm on a deadline here. So I probably haven't given that whole arc, that whole like conversation and reveal, the the credit it's due. So I need to go back and like get that a shot. I just like Kabuto just like started annoying me after a while, because he's so like sanctimonious and so preachy, but also, I don't know, a little hypocritical in my opinion. But I have to go back and see if that's a fair character analysis. So Dr. Strangle said I got volume 1 to 4 of Naruto and 1 to 17 of One Piece done so far. Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, honestly, like I will be curious to hear your thoughts on One Piece as well, because I don't remember much about, or sorry, as you know, I don't like know anything about it, so it'll be helpful in helping me understand that as well. So appreciate you putting that together. Darth Magog says more to something else. Yeah, like here's the thing. So there have been times in my life when I have said edgy stuff and been pretty abrasive, and I can like empathize, I think, with some of the stuff he's going through, and like when he shared that he was being bullied by other people in the community and the stuff that they said it to him, I was like really disgusted, like giving him the benefit of the doubt, assuming that what he was saying was true. People making fun of him for like a death in the family or whatever, it's fucking gross, and so I can understand why he would be upset. But and so like my inclination is like, I wish that we could connect in some way. Like clearly you're not having a good day. My inclination would be like, let's see if we can work this out somehow. But I guess my attempts to do that just didn't help for whatever reason. Probably honestly because the first time I talked to him, I wasn't in like the best mood, and so I wasn't very diplomatic. I was just like, you know, that's like, I started off by saying something along the lines of, like, he said something about his God, like this is my belief in God, and God thinks that like gay people are gross or something like that. And then I said, well, then your God fucking sucks. And so that was, it was like the first thing I ever said to him. So it's probably not like the best way for me to start a conversation, to be honest. But then from that point, I just wasn't really able to make any kind of meaningful progress, I guess. And it kind of sucks. I guess you have to be at least marginally willing to have a conversation before there's a chance for somebody to like change your mind about anything. And I guess it wasn't really up to me to get him to that place, right? That's kind of presumptuous of me. Anyway, I hope that he's able to find people who will be patient enough with him to talk him through whatever he's going through. and get to the other side of it. I hope it's like, he didn't feel like it's something that he's gonna be this way like 5 years, 10 years from now. I don't know. I don't know the motherfucker, right? So it's probably pretentious of me to even speculate about this stuff. But just like there's stuff that I said and ways that I thought when I was younger anyway. Um, and certain ways that I talked that thankfully, like, I had a couple of people who talked to me and like helped like kind of center me a little bit. And now if I look back on that, I'd be like, oh my god, that's so cringy, you know. So hopefully, it's just like that sort of thing. It's just I can't like really be involved in that anymore, you know. So anyway, Dr. Strangle said they somehow got a lot bigger channel on with them. Maybe the big timers just respect the 200 plus cast episodes. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, certainly, not that I am the arbiter of this sort of thing, but I certainly, when I look at somebody's channel and I see that they have like that amount of content, at the very least, like, I don't particularly like, I got nothing against Jay the Great per se. I don't like some of the ways that he interacted with Noodles and some of the stuff that he said and whatnot, but like, um, I don't have anything really negative to say against him. And when I've talked to him in the past, he's been pretty friendly and pretty cool. Um, but like, even if I didn't know anything about his channel, if you just like, you know, like for Lilo anyway, like getting up there to 900 videos, um, even if I didn't love Jay the Great, right? Even if you don't, you have to kind of acknowledge that over the years, he's put together several hundred videos, and what's more is that he's like kept up with a schedule of streaming, and he's covered a lot of different topics, and he's like tried to diversify and stuff like that. So again, not necessarily my favorite channel. I'm not trying to like throw shade, but also just like uh, this hasn't. So some of the takes and some of the statements here have kind of turned me off. But regardless of my personal feelings or whatever, you have to like at least give some respect to the amount of effort that's invested in the consistency and the amount of content. And at a certain point, it's like, yeah, like this video here where the reanimation's actually weaker, I really like this video. I think he did a good job of explaining the topic. Clearly, all of this work that he's put in has gotten to the point where he understands the topic well, and he provided a good synopsis of it. And it's like, yeah, you clearly have been putting in work, and this clearly shows. And so it's not like when you find out that he has like Swag Kage and Six stopping by for episodes of the podcast and shit like that. It's like, yeah, I mean, this guy has earned the stripes, so to speak. And it's kind of cool to see. So, Dr. Strangle says, oh yeah, Darth Magog says, honestly, I think we do more edgy shit when we're younger and more insecure. Yeah, that's very true for me anyway. And there's nothing to do about it but mature and therapy. We have some guys and gals in there that really need it. Yeah, I mean, that's my hope, is that those communities wind up being places that like lead to, like, give people a safe place to share things, and then they move from that onto like getting help for things they need. Sometimes all you need sometimes all the help you need is for somebody to just listen to you when you just need to talk, and that can genuinely like save lives. But sometimes people need actual like structured help, and there's a lot of stigma against seeking mental health help, and there's a lot of I think personal like guilt and shame, and I guess fear, and then also the money. Like, there's a lot of reasons why people will be very hesitant to ever try going to see a therapist. And so if people are in a community where others can normalize it and like be encouraging and supportive in that way, then I think that's like very positive, obviously, right? It won't be me, but I hope it's someone that helps. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it too. Like, that's part of the reason why I don't I'm very hesitant to join Discord servers, and I left quite a few because it's just like, I could stay here and I could try to be part of this helping process or whatever, and maybe this is kind of shitty of me that I didn't, but it was taking so much of my time, and it was taking like a lot of like composure, I guess, to just stay to not get totally emotionally over invested in things there, that I don't know, it just didn't feel like it was productive. So And part of me was like, no, I should have stayed, because I should have tried to. I feel like I gave up, like, once you start a dialogue with somebody, you should try to end it positively. And if you can't, then, you know, you kind of failed. You kind of gave up. But apply that to, like, my conversations with Noodles. And honestly, I tried really hard to, like, not be on that guy's bad side. I tried hard to, engage him in conversation constructively. I tried being positive. I tried being less positive. I tried talking to him on streams. I tried talking to him on Discord. And it's just very clear that, like, this guy does not want to chill, right? This is not going to work. So at a certain point, you just have to set boundaries and be like, realistically, where is this going? Like, realistically, factually, mathematically almost, like, what is the outcome of this interaction? And it's just, just not positive. So with that out of the way, I'm going to start talking about Sharingan for a little bit. I don't have a super hard, clear, defined goal, other than just to explore the Sharingan and explore some scenes with it, because in one of Lilu's one of Lilo's streams, he and the folks in the debate were talking about a few different things related to the Sharingan. One of them was the Sharingan's ability to precog and to give precognition and allow future sight, essentially, like clairvoyance. And the other was, actually, Sage recently did a video going over all the jutsu that Kakashi hypothetically knows, and in that there was a discussion of whether or not the Sharingan can actually copy any jutsu it sees, or, if it has to, like basically, if Kakashi is sitting on a park bench reading a book and all of a sudden a fireball flies over his head and he doesn't see the caster, he just sees the fireball, and he doesn't know that technique, can he open up, like, take off his headband, look at it, and then know how to cast that fireball jutsu just by looking at the jutsu? Or does he need to, like, look at the person casting it and follow the hand signs and stuff like that in order to be able to do it? So it just kind of got me thinking, it might be nice to spend some time going over some scenes with the Sharingan, just see what we can discover without a particular agenda, and maybe that will give us some clarity to those topics, or just to how it works in general. Of course, if you have any questions in particular on this topic or others, you want to jump around, that's totally fine. As usual, we can kind of keep it loose. Next week, I am hoping to do the light speed stream to start on what will be probably a 2 or 3 part series. Probably 2, honestly. But that'll be a little bit more structured. But for today, for the mixtape series, as I'm calling them, like today, we can kind of mix and match topics. We might talk about Kaguya in a little bit. So yeah, just let me know what you think. Room service, Cesaria. Room service brought us cake, and the cake icing was barely on the cake. Well, so here's the thing. I'm sorry for you, because it sounds like that was upsetting, and most normal human beings who have, like, joy in their hearts would probably like icing on the cake. But I am weird, and I actually kind of hate cake icing. I only like just a teeny tiny bit, because I don't like, paste things. So I actually am a little jealous. I would prefer to have a only very, like, vaguely frosted cake. So congratulations / I'm sorry if it didn't work out the way that you were hoping it to. Darth Magog says, can we talk about how the Sharingan used to spin and they kind of stopped doing that? Yeah, I think we're going to talk about it here. We're going to look at Kakashi's mirror wheel eye. And I don't know if it's actually rendered as spinning. I think it is. So we'll take a look at that for sure. It is kind of unfortunate, right? A more, maybe it's something that was just harder to animate, or maybe it's something like, so I wonder if it's like hand signs, actually, because early on in the series, hand signs were a huge fucking deal, as we'll see in this Zabuza fight, and it was part of the magic system and part of the allure of, and also the limitation of these jutsu, right? So, learning how to use a complicated technique wasn't just a matter of, whatever the magical version of athleticism was. It wasn't just you pulling off this detailed, intricate, or like a feat that required a high level of magic skill alone, you also had to almost have this ritual down and have it memorized, and so you were enacting this very specific, like almost dance, like this performance. Um, and given that characters like Jiraiya are directly inspired by kabuki theater and all that, it feels more like it's more theatrical and it's more ritualistic and it's more intricate and performative, um, in a way that then I think kind of fades away and gets replaced by just very quick jutsu execution, so that uh, the fights are less exchanges, or I guess like more fluid and more dynamic, in that there are more exchanges of techniques executed more quickly, as opposed to these pauses for characters to prepare techniques maybe become a little less. As I'm saying that, maybe that sounds a little sketchy. I don't know. Um, but for whatever reason, it seems like to me, for the sake of keeping the fight at a certain pace, hand signs just kind of went away and were omitted. So, do we as readers come to the conclusion that the characters in the universe are no longer actually using hand signs, or is it more reasonable for us to come to the conclusion that they are? Kishimoto just didn't bother drawing it because, like, we get it, right? You guys understood this, right? I spent a couple hundred chapters establishing that they do this. You saw all the elaborate hand signs. You know that if it's a complicated jutsu, they're probably using hand signs. They're moving super fast. Y'all don't need to see this every fucking time, right? So I wonder genuinely which one is the case, and I wonder genuinely if we're just supposed to, as a community, as a readership, to be like, well, Kishimoto clearly, like, he doesn't have to show us every single time, right? He's just going to trust us that we know that eyeball is spinning around and around and around. But I don't know. It's I guess you could call it like vaguely death of the author type thing, or maybe that's not the right term for it. But like, how much do we read into it? I don't know. Personally, it seems to me like more of a convenience thing. I don't, like, in my headcanon or whatever, I didn't come to the conclusion that Kishimoto was saying, like, in part two, pretty much everybody can just use techniques without doing any hand signs. I think you still need to do the hand signs. We just don't happen to see them because it's not, like, relevant to the fight anymore. That's not what he wanted to focus on. And I think the same thing goes for stuff like the Sharingan activation. He's just like, you guys get it, it spins, but I'm not going to show that here because, we got to get to the fight. But I could be wrong. Like, that, if I heard somebody else say what I just said, I'd probably say that sounds dumb. So, so I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Oh, hey, what's going on, Walkie Talkie? How's it going? I was just singing your guys' praises. And Fod, good to see you too. How you doing? Nice to see you. Let me see. Walkie Talkie says W Man's gonna have to get you on the pod at some point. LOL. It's been months. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. So I got your message, and then I was just saying earlier today that, like, I'm always like a little shy about jumping into VC with new folks. It's nothing personal, I promise. It's just me in general. And so I was like, should I like bother them and ask them to come on, or like what should I do? Like, what's the rules of engagement here? But no, like, I listen to your podcast when I can. I've listened to like multiple episodes. I think I was just listening earlier this past week. You guys are always like super entertaining and fun. And so yeah, I'd be more than happy to stop by. Thanks for the positive vibes. I really appreciate it. Fod says, what do you think of beginning of Shippuden Sasuke versus beginning of Shippuden Kakashi? In terms of which one would beat the other in a fight, or be in terms of like their overall like character development and stuff like that. Let me think. I think what's his name? Lilo was just talking about like Kakashi versus Sasuke through the ages, so to speak, right? So recommend, shout out again to Lilo's Adventure. Check out this video over here, Sasuke versus Kakashi debate all arcs. I think he kind of goes through quite a few of them, quite a few of the matchups, and then there's some good conversation back and forth on that topic. But to my mind, at that point in the series, I would probably lean a bit towards Sasuke. Well, it depends. If it's the beginning of Shippuden, his strongest ability right at that point is probably Kirin, but we haven't actually seen it be used, and he doesn't actually, like, AP wise or whatever, he doesn't use it except under very specific conditions with the weather, formation, the cloud formations and stuff like that. I know that some people think that he was going to use it on Naruto and Orochimaru stopped him, so maybe he could use it like that. Not sure. He was able to defeat Orochimaru, and obviously, he has the curse mark and the whatchamacallit, like his various Chidori abilities, like that extending, like Chidori Kusanagi and things like that. So he's obviously strong, but he doesn't have the Orochimaru regeneration that he gets after, like Orochimaru style regeneration that he gets from absorbing him, or like the increased healing factor. I don't know whether or not he has access to like Manda. If he does, then that's one thing. But like, if we think of the fact that he goes up against Datara, and is relatively evenly matched with Datara at that point, and Kakashi is also, I mean, this is so vague, right? Like, I was about to say Kakashi is threatening Datara, but what does that what does that mean exactly, right? Like, he's able to almost hit him with Kamui. I would probably put Kakashi. Well, Kakashi's like vaguely Akatsuki level, whatever the fuck that means, because he's, able to stand up to Kakuzu, and he's in some way relative to Datara, and Datara is relative to that stronger version of Sasuke, after absorbing Orochimaru, which to me says that there's some kind of vague, like, shell game scaling, shuffling you could do that would probably put Sasuke under Kakashi. Probably. But I think they kind of went over this in Lilo's podcast as well, that, like, Kakashi's win condition is probably the Kamui, and he's not very proficient at it yet. And so he's going to basically have a very narrow window in which to win against Sasuke. And if Sasuke manages to, like, get off his whatchamacallit, like a genjutsu or something like that, and close ranks and use the Kusanagi Chidori, then I think he would have a possibility at it. It's just he's a little bit further down the ladder, based on not having absorbed Orochimaru yet. But that is totally, like, headcanon-y, like, spur of the moment stuff. I could be wrong about all that. It's just, like, based on what I've heard recently. So let me know what you think. And Saria says the Sharingan started buffering because there were too many loading at once. Yeah, that makes sense. Too many. The Tomoe have to, like, each, like, slide in, to fill up the buffer. Walkie Talkie says all good. We're pretty casual, as you can tell. Yeah, you guys seem to be, like, totally chill. So I appreciate that. Appreciate the content. Yeah, I was listening to you guys talk about Boruto recently, I think. So curious how you're enjoying the series overall. Do you feel like I guess I should maybe save this as a question for you if I come on the podcast, but, like, do you feel like Boruto is overall at this point, like, a worthy successor to Naruto? Like, as a sequel, do you think it's earned its right as no longer, like, a little brother or whatever, like, it's actually come into its own and has earned its place? Or do you think it's still maybe trying to find its footing, like, it's still kind of not really coming to its own? I'd be curious, like, what you think of the series overall. It sounds like the reception to it is usually pretty positive, but with some caveats, with some things that you tend to find, like, really, really silly. So, oh yeah, sorry, yeah, like, definitely go check them out and sub. Highly recommend everybody here go check them out. Darth Magog says, character-wise, I almost prefer beginning of Shippuden Sasuke. Sasuke's at his best as an anti-villain. Yeah, that's a good point. I think I would probably agree with that. Maybe going up through, like, absorbing Orochimaru and starting off on his quest towards Itachi. I think his fight with Itachi has a great resolution, and I think overall, he's just a like a compelling character intrinsically. And then he kind of goes off the deep end, which is the point for his character, right? It's not like a character flaw or whatever that he winds up kind of going away from anti-villain into actual villain for a while. That can be compelling in and of itself. But he gets, in my opinion, like, so consumed by the hatred that he becomes more one-dimensional. And he, he goes through this period where he's really kind of unlikable and very, to me anyway, very difficult to sympathize with, which you could argue is the point, right? Like the whole point is that he is meant to we're supposed to dislike him. We're supposed to feel like he's almost become an alien, like he's become like a different creature that we don't that only vaguely looks like somebody that we used to like love or care about or be invested in. And then it's the process of him getting pulled back in and having his humanity restored that is compelling. I find that sort of thing easier to do when you can still see the core of humanity in there, and it's like how many things can you forgive and still believe in the goodness of someone's heart? I guess like Naruto is better than me, is like a more like pure-hearted person than me, because after, you know, like him being so willing to dispose of Karin and Sakura and all that, and just being so cold-blooded, it's like, you know, and thinking also of like destroying Konoha means like killing kids and like just destroying a lot of completely innocent lives. And I understand his justification was everybody in Konoha who is currently living a peaceful life is uh is guilty of profiting off of Itachi's suffering, right? Like the only reason that they exist and that they have that quality of life to begin with is because Itachi died and suffered, and because his clan died and suffered. And so, like, to him, everybody in Konoha has a debt to pay him of because they owe their lives to like the Uchiha. And I get how he got to that conclusion, but also like he kind of lets himself get manipulated by Orochimaru, although he subverts that, and that's really cool, right? Like we think Orochimaru's taking advantage of him, but it's actually Sasuke taking advantage of Orochimaru. And then like he lets himself kind of get manipulated by Itachi, and then he lets himself kind of get manipulated by Obito, and it starts to become a little unclear as to where the borders are between his autonomy and his just going along with whatever evil villain of the week's plan is, until he gets to the end. And then he basically, like, and this is where I might be missing something, it seems at the end that he basically kind of does a Pain 2.0, where he's like, I'm going to cause suffering that leads to hatred, and everybody is going to hate me so much that they'll stop hating each other for a while and pour all their hatred onto me, and I'll become the, you know, like, you're Pain. You're just Pain again. So Pain was using fear and pain, and you're using hatred, but it's the same thing. You're just trying to like consolidate and smoosh together all the world's problems and focus them onto a certain point, but you're not actually really solving them. So anyway, I think he becomes more interesting again once we get to Boruto, because now we have this person who basically grew up and spent most of his life like not knowing how to relate to people or connect to people, and then the first person who like genuinely loved him, being Naruto, like loved him as a brother, just like he scared him off essentially, and then he has to slowly figure out how to reintegrate into society, which he does by basically just spending as little time around his family as possible. But there are some fun moments where, you know, like he learns to, he's like, oh right, after being married to Sakura for years and having a daughter, maybe I should give her a ring, here, and he like uses Earth Style to make her one, and goes on like a quote unquote date with her, granted that they're also like slaughtering dinosaurs, zombie dinosaurs, and they're only there in the first place to save Naruto, but they make a date out of it. Like they make it a romantic night together, and it's like, oh, you're learning. So cute. But yeah, his deliberate decision to not have a prosthetic arm, to kind of wear that as you know, what's the term for it, like a hair shirt, like a reminder of the thing that he did wrong. He matures in quite a nice way, I think. So what are we talking about? Totally went off on a long thing there. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, Uncle Sasuke. Yep. Just checking one thing real quick. Okay, so yeah, let's start talking a little bit about the whole Sharingan thing. We're gonna start at chapter 12, and we're gonna just read through a few sections. Let's see what we learn, see what comes up. I think, really, again, the point here is just to kind of learn what we can as we go. And I think this is the first mention of the Sharingan, right? So we have a, you know, initial shocked expression, or at least surprised expression from a couple of the characters. And I want to just see kind of what happens with the interaction between these two characters. So we get this really cool reveal of the Sharingan eye for the first time. And, I mean, like, this is obvious at the... about the eye drop. Yeah, well, here's the drop, the reveal of the eye. You could call this an eye drop. Hey, guys, new eye just dropped, right? you get, okay. So yeah, I mean, like, Saria, go ahead and I want to hear more about the eye drops, right? Like, they're clearly, if you want to start with the eye drops, I mean, like, okay. Let's see. So I don't even know if they come up all that much. So here's Obito, and he puts it specifically in his right eye, right? So his non-Sharingan having eye. Or maybe he's just doing it on that one. Okay. So he rubs it in that one. Okay. Is there anything actually specific that happens with his eye drops, or is it just that one little scene? Obviously, he's got the goggles here. Is it ever explained why he wears those goggles? I think maybe Naruto wears goggles in the very first... Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, I just realized this. So... Naruto wears goggles in the first episode, the first like volume, right? But then he takes them off because it's replaced by his headband, and like they won't fit anymore because the headband, like the goggles, were kind of like his little kid version or alternative to it. And I think Kishimoto had something about like saying something that the headband was just easier to draw than the goggles, something like that, right? So eventually he just does away with them. But I don't think that has any... Well, not just goggles, he's wearing earmuffs too. Like, what the wait, hang on. So, like, what is going on here actually with Obito's character design? I never really paid close attention to this. He's wearing goggles, and then he's also wearing earmuffs. Are these like radio transceivers or something? Or is it just a style thing? And Minato really let this kid go into battle wearing like headphones. Please tell me there's an explanation for this and I'm just being like dense or something. I love that. Well, I mean, like, we can use this opportunity to just scan through here and then talk about the Sharingan when we come up to it, because this is technically like the first time Kakashi opens with the Sharingan, right? Okay. Like when he first gets it. Okay, so we're talking about the... Right. Okay, this is actually worth talking about as well while we're here. Sorry, it says, then why did Kishimoto let the eye drops give him a stat boost in Storm 3? Did somebody lie? Was he not truly involved with the character movesets? No, he definitely was. So, like, the eye drops are okay. So hang on, wait. I can spin this. So Uchiha, obviously, when they use ocular jutsu, their eyes, they get blind, right? And it hurts their eyes. So Obito, being like a true-blooded Uchiha, would have known about this and known about the legacy. This is pre-massacre, right? So he would have known that this was a caveat. And his family, obviously since Madara's time, would have thought of like a way to try to mitigate the effects of the blindness. So like Fugaku or whatever started handing out eye drops to all junior ninja to start conditioning their eyes. Like, anytime you go into battle and you might use your eyes, you have to protect and preserve them using these eye drops. And as a matter of fact, Obito, who was a pampered, spoiled little kid in my headcanon, you have to wear goggles too to protect your special eyes. When I was I heard about like you hear about stories of like prodigy cellists and pianists and violinists and stuff like that being like their parents like don't let them play with other kids and don't let them play outside or like ever play sports or anything because you know, these hands are cello playing hands, like these hands are piano playing hands, like they're gonna make us millions of dollars one day when you're a world renowned pianist, so you can't damage them or whatever, right? It's like that kind of thing. So Obito drops the eye drops in his eyes, and later on, like when they start realizing that Itachi is going crazy, or except since he's such a spoiled little kid, they he doesn't ever want to do it, but they put like a little bit of caffeine in them too, so they actually give him a little bit of a boost, and that's where he gets the stat boost from, and they do that specifically to make it a habit forming thing because Obito's always late. He's always like kind of a goofball, so he's not going to learn to do it himself. They have to like spike the eye drops with something to make it so that he can like get addicted to them and has to like use them every day. So that's why it gives him a bit of a stat boost. In the meantime, once they realize how strong Itachi is, they're like, well, there's no way any of us is going to be able to defeat him in combat because he's just so much stronger. But since he's a good boy and he always does his homework and he always sets a table and makes his bed, he obviously also always takes his eye drops every day, like a good Uchiha does. And so let's just poison his eye drops, and that's why Itachi gets sick, and Sasuke just gets neglected. So. So yeah, I think that's what Kishimoto intended. Dos Megok says Minato was definitely their boss and not their teacher. Yeah, for sure. Also, why he uses the eye drops could be. Yeah. I like that idea though of like somebody like genuinely somebody in the Uchiha clan realizing that the blindness was a problem and trying to get around it by prescribing eye drops. But I mean, maybe Obito just like maybe like 10% of what I just said is actually true. It was never expanded on. Like Obito just has dry eyes. Like that's just something that he deals with. And so he wears these goggles because they help with his like dry eyes. And then he also puts in eye drops to help with that. Just sort of like something like a problem that he has. You know, I have a friend who has like a dry eye issue, and he always carries eye drops with him. He like puts them in like 4 or 5 times a day. So you know, it's a thing that people deal with. I wonder if Kishimoto dealt with that himself and just decided to do a little bit of self insert in there for Obito, because I feel like he's sometimes in the whatchamacallit, in the chapter synopses and stuff, he talks about his like back pain and things like that. So he might have actually just written this in as a quirk from something that he went through. But honestly, like, it does look kind of silly, right? Like, Naruto's whole thing is that he took off his goggles and replaced them with the headband because that was a sign of him, like, maturing and becoming a ninja, like a full-fledged ninja, and gaining acceptance. And it's weird that, like, Obito, who's another one of those characters who's, like, kind of plucky and scrappy and a goofball and who's not really taken seriously and who specifically wants to become Hokage, you know, and also specifically has his goggles stacked with the headband on top. And if we give Kishimoto the credit that, like, okay, the headband means something symbolic, it actually does, it's there for a reason, and the goggles are there for a reason too, then we can look at this as some kind of a contradiction, some kind of duality, right? Like some kind of, Obito doesn't really fit, like his perspective isn't quite aligned with theirs, like because his vision is filtered. Maybe there's a metaphor there, that maybe he's just kind of like awkward and hasn't kind of grown into his own and has been surpassed by his comrades, and so his headband and his ninja status, his ninja identity, kind of feels like an appendage, because that's what this is really. I mean, like, we see this time and time again with characters like slashing out their village symbol, or with characters like fucking Itachi and Sasuke like dropping their Sasuke like deliberately putting on his headband to fight Naruto as an equal, as a ninja. Like, just to be very clear, like, this is not just a piece of cloth, right? This is the symbol of one one's allegiance to one's village and also being a ninja at all. So I think that we're supposed to look at this as part of Obito's like not yet achieving his identity. Like he's not yet who he's supposed to be, something like that. You know what I mean? But yeah. Oh hey Axel, how's it going? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Sasuke suffering from abuse, typical ninja boys. Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, like it's pretty dire shit. Like these are child soldiers that are being sent to their deaths. It's pretty fucked up. Um, Also, I use the eye drops. Axel says his eye just got better. That's also a distinct possibility too. But you know, this is the John the Maven channel where we meticulously overanalyze every tiny detail. So you know, welcome to part 1 of a 5-part series on the usage of eye drops in Naruto. I'm like only half joking. It's only gonna be 2.5 parts. Saria says the Hashirama sells moisturizers. honestly like if there's like some I don't want to say that it's like what's the term, like a condition, right? If there is a medical condition that he is suffering from that is leading to dry eye, it could actually be the case, right? Here's something that's interesting to note. We were talking before about like characters like sleeping overnight and traveling and stuff like that, you know, during the geography stream. Forgot to mention this. So on the one hand, these characters over here, the kids, do actually sleep and rest, but Minato himself doesn't seem to need that sleep, or at least doesn't take it. So it's probably the case, you know, it's not all that weird for soldiers to not sleep on a given night. So this kind of makes sense. But also the idea that characters are necessarily like moving an entire, like characters going from the Sand Village to Konoha are moving consistently the entire time just because there's something urgent going on. It's not necessarily the case, right? Like they're headed to the front lines, but they can still take time to rest. So I think that's pretty consistent. So this is interesting, right? Like, I mean, I guess it seems obvious, but Obito doesn't wear his goggles to bed, or at least he takes them off. And so now we have this moment of kind of quiet and connection between Minato and Obito. And in this moment where he's kind of like dropping the facade and being genuine with him and learning from him is when he's kind of taking off his goggles. So let's, and like, I might be born into the elite Uchiha clan, but I'm just a washout, right? So that's interesting. Let's keep that in mind going forward. I do want to mention, because we're talking about the Sharingan ostensibly here, that when Kakashi first uses his, whatchamacallit? Oh, I missed this, okay. Kakashi, rules and regulations are certainly important, but they're not everything. Remember how I told you at times you must adapt and take steps appropriate to the situation at hand. As for you, Obito, dust can't get in your eyes while you're wearing goggles. It's fine to speak of self-control, but you must be strong at heart, not just in words. Okay, so it seems to me here, I can't believe I was like, looking at this the whole time, but so he's, so what are we supposed to get from this? He's protecting his eyes, which is I guess seen as sort of a prudent thing because it does protect against dust. But he's also, I guess, like, not as vulnerable as Kakashi is, right? Like he's using something. Oh, here we go. I see. It helps if I actually read the fucking chapter. Okay, let's try again. Kakashi's wound isn't trivial. We'll retreat for now and set up camp. Okay, so part of the reason why they're camping is because of the wound, not just like travel considerations. Okay, I'm fine. What's so fine about it? It's your fault for ignoring our sensei and acting reckless. I told you not to talk to me that way. Surely not you, the spineless crybaby of the elite Uchiha. What was that? It got dust in my eye. Okay, so, when did he start crying? Was it up? Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so, is he? So something we need to understand about Obito at this point is he's kind of a screw up. He's kind of a washout, and he also apparently is wearing these goggles potentially to hide the fact that he's a crybaby, and also as like a sign that he maybe is being a little bit dishonest and a little bit of a wimp, because, you know, everybody else could potentially get dust in his eyes, but he's going to wear the goggles and he's going to keep the dust out of his eyes. But more importantly, he's then going to use that, you know, he's going to lie about the fact that he was crying and try to like hide it, And so the goggles are like a visual symbol that then becomes associated with him, I guess, like not being genuine. And then when he takes them off, he's actually not hiding from his, um, he's not hiding from his insecurities anymore. He's being honest and direct about them. So, yeah, I mean, like, I'm probably not doing a great job of like doing the literary analysis or whatever here, but it does seem to me like the goggles themselves, and the artificial tears or whatnot are conceived of at least as part of his character growth and character development. So that there's something there. Um, read the chapter reading. Oh, I like reading. Yeah, I know. It's not ideal. We actually have to take our time and read words. I think I must have mentioned this before, but in case I didn't, this is another great example of Kishimoto's world building. Like, it's subtle. It's not something that we spend a ton of time off, whatever. But it's nice to just see these little scenes, right? So here, Obito is putting in eye drops again. Um, and does he actually have his goggles on? Yeah, he does. His goggles are also tinted, which I find kind of an interesting detail. And it's kind of cool that, there's like this spike trap with the bamboo here that they managed to uh, locate. I love how this is so cool. I love how Kishimoto like uses the vertical lines in the panels to kind of like hide the panel borders in between the like I don't know how to describe it, but it makes it look like it's part of the forest of bamboo. Like it's almost like an optical illusion where it's kind of hard to see this one because it's just like part of the if you're not looking directly at it, because it's part of the silhouettes of the various bamboo stalks. That's really cool. Do you guys know what I mean? It's like, and then it goes from like a larger panel to a smaller one over here. It kind of feels like you as a viewer are just looking through a row of bamboo that's like one step, like a few feet closer to the camera than the characters are. Like you're peeking through the bamboo at them. It's so fucking cool. I never realized that before. It's a nice we don't often see like the panel borders being used as a an active part of the storytelling. That's really cool. And then all the details of like the moss and the rocks and everything. Also cool to know. I mean, it makes sense because these guys are pretty advanced, but they all know like the water walk technique, so they have enough chakra control to just be able to casually do this, which is worthwhile. Kakashi like senses the oncoming enemy by smelling them at first, which is kind of cool. And then I guess it's sort of implied that the enemies are the ones that set the bamboo trap because they're actively using the bamboo in their environment as part of their weaponry. We do actually see Obito do their hand signs for the fireball technique right over here. And I think this might actually be the most useful fireball technique in the series. Most of the fireball techniques that get fired out are pretty easily countered or dodged or don't really have great feats. Despite databook statements to the contrary. But here he just like, arguably saves their lives. I mean, like, it's probably putting too fine a point on it, right? I'm sure Kakashi and Rin see this and are like, okay, I guess we don't have to dodge now. It's not like they would have necessarily died if he hadn't have done this, but I mean, at the same point, it's pretty fucking cool, right? And he reacts before Kakashi or Rin do anything. So despite him being a screw up, he's still able to do that. But then, of course, we have an ambush coming in from behind. Kakashi clashes. And in the meantime, while this is happening, Rin gets captured. Such a sinister and gross line. She's found a new master. Ugh. And then they take off. Okay. So I'm going to skim through some of this stuff. Sorry says, I want Kishimoto to make an in-depth explanation of the Shinobi World's health insurance system. The health insurance system is don't get killed. If you almost get killed, then go see a medic ninja. That's it. I think it's probably not something that's like financially subsidized or whatever one way or another. It's just like if you happen to be near a medic ninja, they will heal you if they have enough chakra. So here Obito is like, we need to save our comrades. That's more important than the mission. Talking about obeying orders, rescuing versus abandoning what like the priority is. It's kind of interesting too. I wonder if we're supposed to read into the fact that like each of them has like a part of their body like face obscured, like Akashi's face, like his nose and mouth are obscured versus Obito's eyes are obscured. So is that meant to kind of lead us to the conclusion that we should be skeptical of Kakashi's words, but skeptical of Obito's sight? Because we could have, Kishimoto could have portrayed Kakashi without a mask as a kid. It seems like a deliberate design decision to me to have him be wearing a mask. But that's cool. I guess I never really thought about this, but the mask that he's wearing actually descends down from his cheek to his chin to his neck. It's not like it's part of his entire costume, right? It's not just he's wearing a uniform and then also wearing a mask. It's integrated into his suit. It's almost like a Zentai suit or something like that, right? Except minus this part of the head. So that's interesting. Emotion is a useless burden. That also kind of makes it more difficult to see what he's feeling, although his eyes are very expressive. Okay. So let's see. I'm curious if he has his goggles on when he activates the Sharingan. Since we're talking about the Sharingan, let's just why does she look like that? She just looks so weird. Let's just see if that winds up holding true. Let's just see. Saria says, remember that one ninja who got reanimated and saw that his friend married his wife after he died? I don't remember that. Who was that? I'm genuinely curious. I don't remember who that was. The only person I remember being resurrected who had anything to say about like relationships was Dan, but Tsunade didn't marry after Dan, right? So it was actually a pretty impressive and destructive feat here, or whatever presumably stone ninja cast this. Cool ability. It kind of gets overlooked. But let's see. Okay, so Obito finds them. Like, let's go. And then Kakashi comes in, slashes. Memento for my father. Okay. So now they're kind of working together. Kakashi gets slashed. He loses his eye. And okay, so interesting. Okay, so this is cool. So Obito starts to cry, right? So now the crying, the tears are filling up his vision, so to speak. And now he takes off his goggles, rubs his eyes. All talk, always a burden. Keep your guard up. And now, interesting. So his goggles are like overlapping with his headband, and he turns around. And he activates the Sharingan for the first time. And as he does so, his goggles are superimposed on top of and are like overlapping with his Konoha headband. But the first time he uses the Sharingan, he's no longer hiding behind the goggles anymore. Like he's seeing the world clearly in more ways than one, right? So, and he's able to see this invisible character. He says, "What your eyes? This time I'm protecting my comrade." So what does he do with the goggles after that? This is actually a stream about Obito's goggles. And he specifically says, yeah, I can see chakra. Okay. So the Sharingan enables you to see chakra. Full stop, according to Obito. Let's keep that in mind as we go and learn more about it. My eye is gone, Obito, but never mind that. I can use this kin. The kit Reen gave me to fix myself up. Okay. So being very creepy and weird. And now, okay. So now this is interesting. Kakashi has lost his headband, or at least it's not visible to us right now. But Obito is now no longer using his goggles whatsoever. He's discarded them, and he's just using his headband now, right? So, that being said, it seems based on the kanji here, and oh, it says gur. Okay, so this says gur. He's, but to me, like the zooming in effect here means that he's choosing to activate it. So it's cool. He says that he can see chakra, but over here he seems to need to kind of turn it back on again in order to see what's going on with Rin. I wonder if this is just our camera zooming in on his eye for dramatic effect, or if he needs to actually kind of like flip it on like a night vision goggle or something, like he's tapping the side of it to turn it back on or something. But he is actually able to see the flow of chakra within somebody, kind of like the Byakugan, except he's not actually seeing the chakra points. He's just seeing the flow of chakra overall, like the I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how else to phrase it. Okay, so then they fight, and it looks like he's able to. So this is drawn in such a weird way, but they're both fighting this dude, and then it looks like, I mean, we get this zoom in on his eye, and it seems like he's able to use, like the eye. Like the implication here is that he's using the Sharingan as part of dodging this guy's attack. Same thing over here, right? Like he sees this blow coming towards Kakashi. Kakashi's eye is blinded, like he can't see. Obito can see it, right? So he's kind of now helping to compensate for Kakashi's vision, and then he does whatever this move is, which is really goofy, but hey, it's effective because he's like planting his hand on the floor and like blocking both of the guy's arms with each of his feet, which is kind of a cool maneuver, and really kind of interesting too, because he's not the one who's landing the killing blow. It's Kakashi who's coming in with his dagger or whatnot and slashing at him. And so yeah, he's really just kind of genuinely working with Kakashi as a team. Like Kakashi does the release in order to free Rin from the influence of the genjutsu. Okay, and then they got trapped in here. Rocks are falling down. Goes to help Kakashi, and at this point, is his Sharingan off? It looks like it. Looks like he, well, maybe it's just sort of hard to see, but it looks like his Sharingan is actually off here. But I think it's on again when he's under the rock, right? Yeah, it is. So that might just be an error, or that we're so far away that we can't tell. So he just like shorthanded it and wrote it that way. Okay. So I think that's pretty much it. And this is cool too. I hadn't thought about this before. But so Obito crying before was something that, he lied about. He kind of hid. It was like inside, like hiding behind his mask, so to speak. But then he his goggles, but then he threw away the goggles, and that was his sort of coming out and becoming like a full-fledged ninja, like accepting the world as it was, and starting to act like a bit more of an adult and not to complain and cry as much. But then when Obito and Kakashi fuse, so to speak, when they combine their perspectives, when they combine their, when Obito becomes a part of Kakashi in a certain way, it's with tears. It's Obito crying, or I mean, it's Kakashi crying, right? But it's something that Obito is known for that kind of becomes part of Kakashi as well. So it's like we're supposed to think of the shinobi as being cold, heartless, emotionless tools, but when Kakashi gets his and fucking Kakashi as well, like, is distancing himself from emotion. He's not supposed to feel. He's not supposed to care about stuff like that. He's supposed to just execute orders. And the side of him that represents that is still like solid black, but the side of him that's now incorporated his crybaby friend is crying. Like the eye that he gets from Obito is crying when he gets it, right? Like that's pretty significant, I think. Get the Chidori over here. Okay, does he still? And even though it's exhausting for him, like he's using it for the Sharingan for the same time, but he's still able to what is that face? Rin's faces are always so weird. Um, but yeah, he's still able to use it for quite some time. Cripes. We get to see the hand signs here for the Chidori. It's pretty impressive that Jonin fucking like that little kid Kakashi was able to not only use like multiple Chidori, but also like maintain the Sharingan active for all this time. The first time that he used it after experiencing like the psychological trauma of losing a friend. Okay. So I think that's it, yeah. Two heroes were born in Konohagakure, each with his own Sharingan. One found his name engraved on the memorial stone, the other came to be known as the yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. So I think what we've learned from this is that, in my opinion anyway, the goggles are not just some kind of random, insignificant tool. Like, they are something that matters. They're something that has been included specifically because they have value to the story, and they're part of Obito's design, and they reflect his character. And specifically, you know, we could debate the fine points of it, but specifically, they seem to represent his more naive side, his less, like, I guess you could say, trusting side, the side of him that is more prone to a lack of responsibility and over emotionality, and letting his emotions, I guess, kind of like take control of himself, and maybe hiding from that, being dishonest about that. And the process of him shedding that is directly correlated with him activating the Sharingan. And the Sharingan, as we're going to see, is also something that's directly correlated with a deeper sense of understanding, piercing through illusions, like eliminating deception. It's something that is called like the wheel, like the eye of insight, right? So it's something that is, again, like directly associated with clarity of vision and clarity of purpose. And this is, I think, a very nice way of illustrating Obito's change in perception, and then all of that, of course, gets carried over into Kakashi. So when he's seeing through the eye of his friend, he's also seeing through. He's not just like, he didn't just get like this raw power up or whatever. He got a part of his soul, almost like a part of his essence, and that comes with the power of his clarity of insight, but also with like the honesty of his emotional expression. Remember, Obito saw the world differently than Kakashi did. Kakashi at that point, his eyes were expanded, his perception was expanded by having his perspective on like whether or not to adhere strictly to a mission, like that was challenged. Whether or not to incorporate emotion in a mission, that was challenged. And so all of that from Obito gets put into Obito's eye and then put into Kakashi. So it's very, very significant, I think, that Obito takes off his goggles. I think it's very, very significant that Kakashi starts crying with the Sharingan eye the first time he uses it. That's actually kind of huge. And all of this does, you know, connect to him using eye drops as well. It's funny to me, I haven't figured out why this is, but it's funny to me that Obito only ever puts eye drops. We only ever see him put eye drops in his right eye and not the one that he gives to Kakashi. So maybe it's like a weird kind of grim foreshadowing of like he knows, not that he knows, but like he that eye was like destined to get fucked up, you know what I mean? Like, he's always babying the right eye and taking extra care of it because that's a portent of it eventually getting crushed and him losing that eye, something like that, right? Darth Magog says, popping in between takes while I'm filming, don't mind me lurking. Yeah, no worries, that's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that you're filming. Good luck with that. Good luck with your creative process in general, man. I'm excited to see what you come up with. Saria says, he's filming, lock in Mr. Magog. Yes. This is where I would be cool and hip, and I would say something Star Wars-y, like lock S foils in attack positions, right? Is that a good one? That indicates commitment to one's task. Or targeting computer something. Shit. I was just watching some clips from Empire Strikes Back too. But yeah, I need to bone up on my Star Wars memes so that I can contribute more. Okay, one sec. You're on the leader. Yeah, there we go. Alrighty. So yeah, going back to chapter 12. This is the sorry, you're probably not any more ignorant than I am, honestly. Um I know the same things that everybody else knows, like if you grew up and watched some Star Wars. But I couldn't tell you much about the inner workings of the universe or anything like that. Have you actually seen the full series, like the prequels and the sequels and the OGs? Um, I feel like it's one of those things that it's such a big part of pop culture that it's kind of assumed that everybody's seen it and you know everything about it. So, but like I never saw Back to the Future until like a few years ago, and I guess that's one of those things where everybody kept saying, oh, you have to watch it, dude. This is such a big part of like pop culture. It's a big part of American culture and everything. You have to watch it. You have to watch it. And then I saw it and I was like, dude, what the fuck is this plot? Like, I'm sorry, like Doc, what's his name, Doc Brown, the scientist dude, and the kid, and their exploits, and the car, the DeLorean, and everything, super fun, super cool. Most of the plot is really really weird though. Like the kid, like trying, like the mother has a crush on her own kid, and he doesn't know it's a kid because he traveled back in time, and he has to make sure that his mom and dad hook up instead of his mom hooking up with him. It's, I don't know, man. Like, it's one of those things where I think you have to kind of grow up with it. But I didn't get it. So um me sharing that is just to say that, like, don't feel like you have to get into Star Wars because it's like a popular thing or a cultural thing, but it is pretty cool. I mean, like, in my recent seeing some of the old classic, I shouldn't say old, I should say classic movies. There's definitely some stuff like that comes across as a little sketchy, like some of the Han Solo and Leia stuff. It doesn't really hold up super well. But at the same time, you have to admire the world craft, like the creature creation, the like combination of different visual effects, like the VFX pioneering, the sound effects pioneering. Ben Burt, the sound, like chief sound designer or whatever his specific title was, like pioneered so many early sound design techniques. They're so revolutionary, and the VFX as well, and like so much of the visual iconography and the set design and the enemy design and the like ship design and everything is just like so brilliant. That despite some quirks here or there, like it's just fun. Like it's a well scripted and well executed hero's journey. So I think at the very least Empire is kind of a must watch. Like Empire Strikes Back. Sorry said I did. Okay, great. Sorry I watched all the movies earlier this year, mostly because I was curious to see if Rey was really a Mary Sue or not. I haven't watched any of the TV shows except Mandalorian, no novels either. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's pretty much the same here. My partner and I tried to get into Obi-Wan, didn't really get into it. Can get far into it. The Mandalorian, and then fucking Andor. Andor's really really good too. Yeah, so what conclusion did you come to about Rey? Do you think she is a Mary Sue or not? I'd be curious to know. I honestly, like, I think that she is like a little bit, but I think she got way too much shit for it by the same community that was like hating on Korra, because woman in thing were usually men, so therefore like all the vitriol under the sun. Anyway, yeah, so Sharingan stuff. This is the first time we see Kakashi unveil the Sharingan, the mirror wheel eye. And it's kind of cool to know that out of the gate it has this legendary status associated with it. And Naruto hasn't heard of it, but Sasuke obviously has. So let's see what Sasuke says about it. Shinobi who have the Sharingan eye have mastered a form of ocular ninjutsu. Okay, so it's a they having the eye means that they have mastered a ninjutsu, ocular ninjutsu, aka dojutsu. This dojutsu enables them to penetrate and see the reality behind any illusion or spell. I'm assuming here by illusion or spell, he means ninjutsu or genjutsu. Illusion being genjutsu and spell being ninjutsu. I'm not 100% sure, but as we go through here, we will see that the term spell gets used to refer to things that we later consistently see called ninjutsu, right? So you could look at this as being an esoteric description of its ability to pierce through reality, or you could look at it as, or like not reality, the opposite of that, like illusion, or you could just look at this as like it having been retconned as, or like clarified later as, somebody with the Sharingan can see through genjutsu and can also see through ninjutsu and understand their nature. Okay. Also, to reflect the power, the magics they penetrate. Wait, this is weirdly phrased. And to reflect the power, the magics they penetrate back. Oin those who. Okay, hang on. Apologies to folks who prefer the color. I will go back to the color later, but I'd like to see what the actual official translation of this is, because there seem to be a couple typos there. So let's just go back to the OG for a little bit, which is still beautiful. So let's see. Mastered a form of ocular ninjutsu, it enables them to penetrate and see the reality behind any illusion or spell, and to reflect the power of the magics they penetrate back on those who cast them. Okay, cool. So if they perceive something as being like a magical illusion or a spell or something like that, then they can then reflect that power onto somebody else, which makes sense, because that's, it's called the mirror wheel eye after all. A mirror wheel or Sharingan eye is one of several types used by the masters. Okay, so there are other forms of dojutsu here that we're learning about. Now, this is interesting too, is that illusions, so ninjutsu is referred to with this subtitle of shadow, taijutsu substance, and genjutsu illusion. We're seeing all three of them be displayed underneath the eyes, but he's also just saying illusion or spell, so it makes me think that even though the Sharingan can pierce through these two things, even though it's like a bit of a contradiction, right? Because the taijutsu is also kind of depicted with this sort of ethereal flame-looking graphic as being within the purview of the Sharingan, but we later learned that taijutsu itself can't be deciphered the same way that genjutsu or illusion can. So we're starting to get a little bit of conflicting information, and then that gets clarified, I think. Anyway, Darth Magog says, honestly, I've never thought of Rey as a Mary Sue, no more so than Galen, Luke, or Anakin, really. Okay, that's fair, yeah. Sarah says, I don't think so. All of her abilities and stuff are explained. She struggles constantly. She fails constantly. She constantly doubts herself. Oh, okay. Honestly, no more than Mary Sue as a child. Anakin destroying a ship at 8. Yeah, okay, that's fair. Luke and Anakin were kind of nuts in their own right, too, so LOL. Yeah. I haven't seen The Force Awakens since it came out in theaters, essentially. And so I would be curious to go back again. I was in a pretty cynical rabbit hole at that time, so I saw the movie and I saw Korra around the same time, and then I saw channels like ER that had very negative things to say about them, and I was just I felt validated because I was in an edgy place. But I think in retrospect, I'm now extremely skeptical of anything that came out of that sort of sphere, and so I think I should go back and give it another try and see how that holds up. I need to see Superman first, though. I still need to get around to seeing that. Okay, so Sasuke says, and there's more. Zabuza confirms this. Most formidable of all is the acuity with which the Sharingan can discern and then duplicate its opponent's greatest skill. That's an interesting turn of phrase. When I was an assassin for the Kirigakure, I possessed the usual bingo book, a kind of who's who of our enemies. It had quite the extensive write-up on you, including a mention of your impressive record. The man who had penetrated and copied over 1,000 different techniques, Kakashi the Mirror Ninja. Okay, so basically, the way this is being set up is that when Kakashi, or anybody with the Sharingan, confronts an enemy, and they see their enemy's technique, a magic or an illusion, that they can not only penetrate through it, decipher it, but also subvert it in a way that then reflects it back onto the opponent, right? So and she's like surprised that they're that amazing. Like he hasn't really shown that side of them. Um, Sasuke says the Sharingan is only supposed to be unique to a small number of the Uchiha clan, so he's kind of curious about that, clearly. So let's skip ahead a little and see what it looks like. Darth Magog says, let's not get into Starkiller throwing TIE fighters at ATSTs or ripping Star Destroyers out of the sky. Oh, that's, right. That was from the, Jedi... Oh, shit. It wasn't Jedi Outcast. It was, I have a copy, like a hard copy of the Xbox game, like, over there in my room just out of sight, and I can picture it in my head, and I can't for the life of me remember what it's called. But I know what you're talking about. Yes. I know the scene that you're talking about too with the Star Destroyer. How do you feel about the way that Force Unleashed? Yes, thank you. Oh my god. Thank you, Force Unleashed. How do you feel about the way that Darth Vader has been portrayed in extended media? Because I feel like, so as a Silent Hill fan, I feel like we were all pretty nonplussed when they started putting Pyramid Head in things, because I think we got the impression that like the only reason he was getting put in things was because new developers were getting their hands on the franchise, and they were like, well, clearly it's the Pyramid Head is the Silent Hill man, and so he goes in the Silent Hill game because every Silent Hill fan likes the Silent Hill man, and they just kind of put him in places, and a lot of us were like, no, that's not how he works. Like, we're happy to see him, I guess, but he doesn't belong here, you know? And so I feel like there was a bit of grumbling from the Star Wars crowd as well, with Darth Vader just kind of like showing up places, like in the that was it, the hallway scene at the end of why am I blanking? A Rogue One, which I thought was actually pretty cool, but I mean, you know, you don't want it to be overused or just be used as a prop, right? So be curious if you think it was implemented well. Sawyer says, I've heard stories about Starkiller, and I'm just like, I'll never let anyone call Aaron Anakin a Gary Stu when this motherfucker exists. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I understand, like, as a player, you want, like, the player of a game to feel, like, super empowered and as energized as they can, right, to pull off the craziest feats or whatever. But I feel like, from my recollection, the Jedi Outcast, like the Kyle Katarn games, did I guess they were just called the Jedi Knight series, right? It was like Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast, and then Jedi Academy. Those games were did a good job of making you feel powerful by giving you a wide variety of different techniques and skills and cool shit that you can do, and making you feel very acrobatic and like skillful without making you feel like totally overpowered, right? Yeah, that's a good point, Darth Magog. Darth Magog says Vader's best used in small doses, almost like pain or Itachi, really. Yeah, I think I like that approach too. So Zabuza is oh yeah, they're so surprised to see him walking on water. And so he's built up quite a bit of chakra. Okay, so he uses this Kirikakure jutsu, the finest of the ninja arts, not to glaze himself up or anything. But it's interesting, he doesn't so this is interesting. He says, I haven't necessarily mastered every aspect of the Sharingan Eye, so all of you stay on your toes. This is a kind of an interesting admission from Kakashi. So he hasn't necessarily immediately penetrated the jutsu, right? Like he doesn't seem to know exactly where what's his name? Zabuza is now. He's kind of focusing and waiting. Like he didn't just see him, he's like, oh, he's over there, and then dash towards him. He's just waiting for it. Zabuza is Jesus. Zabuza is really fucking scary, honestly. Like this is some like horror movie shit. Yeah, so but then he does this, right? He starts actually, I'm not sure if it's just one hand sign. It looks like he is doing the ram, if I remember correctly. They're kind of like paralyzed by it, by the bloodlust. So here Zabuza shows up, but then Kakashi's able to. I mean, like the fact that we see the Sharingan activating, and then this happening, it seems pretty significant to me, right? Like he's able to get in between Zabuza and them before Zabuza manages to kill them or pull that off, and Zabuza seems surprised by that as well, right? Like, but it was it was his water clone, so Kakashi like seems to have seen that. Although he also seems to be potentially surprised. No, he wasn't. So okay, so here we go. This is such a cool like back and forth exchange of deception between these two characters. This is what a ninja battle feels like it quote unquote should be about, right? Um, so Kakashi actually does see through the mist and actually sees the fact. So right over here, I think we're supposed to get the impression that in this moment, Kakashi notices that Zabuza has made a clone and like figures that out, and this is him copying the jutsu, right? Like this is him having registered what Zabuza did and copied the jutsu and being ready to use it, and now he like executes it over here, right? Because slash and it's a water doppelganger, right? And so Kakashi like set up this you know multi-move chess maneuver. Pretty cool. He died for Kishimoto's sins. Preemptively, I think. Kishimoto had pretty clear track record up to that point. So Zabuza says, in that short time you duplicated my water doppelganger technique by making your doppelganger. So this was already a doppelganger. This was already a clone that Kakashi had made. So he made a water clone, right? In short, all my attention will be focused on it while you yourself use the... So, yeah, so that is crazy. So Kakashi did actually, like factually, copy Zabuza's hiding in the mist technique, and then also copy his water technique, and then like used the Zabuza's own hiding in mist technique to swap his water clone out, hid in the mist, used his own water clone to spar with Zabuza, and then came out of the mist and did this, which is crazy. And that all happens so quickly. However, then this happens. So he was also a water clone. and Kakashi seems surprised by this too. So I guess this is where we start to think, okay, Kakashi's admitted the that he doesn't have full control over the Sharingan, so he should have been able to tell that this was a water clone, right? Like, if he had the same level of insight that Obito did when he was looking at Rin before, he should have been able to look at this and be like, this is a clone. Potentially. You could use that to try to explain like why he has this reaction. But then he sees this coming. Okay. So this is also, I think, I love the fact that we're still early enough in the series that we can that fucking caltrops are still actually a threat. You know, like these characters we're about to start talking about Haku and all that and moving at the speed of light, right? But at this point of the series, caltrops are still a threat. Like little tiny spikes. Zabuza doesn't want to get owies on his footsies. Like it's great. I love it so much. Let's see. Saria says, if he doesn't have full control, how did he have a Mangekyo? Oh, what's his name? Kakashi doesn't have a Mangekyo at this point. He only has just like the one basic Sharingan. He doesn't get the Mangekyo until the start of Shippuden, as far as I know. But even then, I think he gets good enough at using his singular Sharingan that it quote unquote evolves into a Mangekyo. But he's still nowhere near as good at using the Mangekyo, at least at first, as even like Sasuke is when he starts using it. Mostly due to his stamina, because he's not like genetically an Uchiha, it just drains him egregiously, and so he can't use it for very long or use it as part of like complex sequences or whatnot, right? So Um, Kakashi says he hasn't mastered Sharingan, but he's the only Sharingan user who ever copies a jutsu. Yeah, there has to be at least one other example, right? Like, there has to be somewhere else in the series where at least one other person copies a jutsu using the Sharingan. There must be. Um, I can't think of it. I really hope it wasn't just Kakashi, but it seems like it was. Um, I wonder if it's like ever retconned or expanded on as being like specifically an Uchiha pride thing. Like the Uchiha are just so fucking cool that they would never need to copy it anyway. But Kakashi, just because he is who he is, he used this technique in a way that nobody else had thought to before. You know, like not too many people used body flicker um, the way that Shisui did. Like everybody can use body flicker, I guess, but Shisui was just like, I'm gonna really focus on being really, really good at this. And that was just his thing. So maybe all the other people could do it, but just decided. I mean, we don't see the Uchiha use like that many different techniques is the thing too. Like Itachi doesn't have a huge variety of jutsu. He has a fireball technique. He has a variety of different genjutsu, but he like they're pretty unique to him, like his Krogen jutsu and shit like that. So he's probably not copying them from other people. I mean, he does copy. He does have like the water bullet technique or water fang bullet. So it's not like he's completely monotone, but after a certain point, you get to a certain level of being an Uchiha, and it's like Fireball, Amaterasu, Tsukuyomi, and Susanoo, right? The big Mangekyo Jutsu. I think maybe it's just sort of implied that like it's kind of a chump thing for Uchiha to go around copying the jutsu of other clans because that's like I'm sure Madara has no interest in going around like learning a bunch of techniques from other clans and copying their techniques, right? Like he wants to learn shit that like wood release and shit that Hashirama can do, but that's just because of his like enduring crush on Hashirama and his fetish for Hashirama stuff. But he himself doesn't really use all that many techniques, and the ones that he does are pretty specialized things like fire, which is something that's endemic to his clan, like his Susanoo. He doesn't even use a Matarasu, does he? What else does he do? Well, he uses like a Majestic Destroyer Flame and the Tsukuyomi, the Infinite Tsukuyomi. So yeah, in my headcanon, it's more like an Uchiha pride superiority, like low-key racism thing, where it's like, yeah, we could, but why would we just like harvest jutsu from all of these inferior clans? That would be a sully to like that would sully the Uchiha name. We only need our one completely useless fire technique, and then our like completely overpowered instant win hacks. So, let's see. I really wanted Itachi to copy Chidori and counter Kakashi or Sasuke in a fight. That would have been really cool. I would have loved to have seen that, honestly. Sorry says because they didn't awaken their Mangekyo and Rin died, so shouldn't he have had more than time to master his stuff. Yeah, Obito just awakened his 2 Tomoe Sharingan when Rin died, and then Kakashi, did he activate it with when Kakashi got it? Did it have 2 Tomoe, or did it have 3? Did he get like an extra one when he imported it? Let's see. No, it's just 2. Right, so he gets it with 2, and then eventually he has to grow it into a 3rd one, and then he has to. I don't know if we know for sure who like how he got his Mangekyo. Like supposedly somebody very close to you has to die, but at the beginning of Naruto, like chapter 1, 2, 3, something like that. Oh no, it's when Sasuke is about to leave with the Sound 4. Like he's yelling at Kakashi, and he says something along the lines of, what would it be like for you? You don't know what it would be like to live my life. What if I found every single person that you loved and killed them right in front of you? What would you say then? Like, you don't understand me. And Kakashi says, well, I suppose you could do that, except all the people dear to me have already been killed. And then it like shuts Sasuke up, right? So I don't know what else happened to him between the end of Shippuden and the beginning of, or like the end of part 1 and the beginning of Shippuden, that would count as like a Mangekyo awakening level event, because Sasuke only awakens it when he kills Itachi. So I'm not sure. Obito awakens his when he sees Rin die. I guess you could argue. Are you trying to say that like you think Kakashi and Obito both awakened their Mangekyo at the same time when Rin died later, and Kakashi has just kind of been like sitting on it this whole time because he's like throughout part 1 because he's never been strong enough to use it, and it's only in part 2 that he finally like has enough proficiency with the Sharingan in general to be able to use it. Something like that. That'd be interesting. Darth Magog says Kakashi retroactively had a Mangekyo in Anbu. Oh, okay. I should have read that first. Sorry. When Rin died, he apparently can't use it and probably doesn't know about it. That makes sense. No, Sasuke never copies anything. Obito doesn't do it. Obito doesn't copy Raikiri. How poetic would that be? Yeah, that would be cool. Itachi never does it. Madara doesn't do it. Yeah, okay. So, I get into the habit of actually reading chat before I go on my tangents. Saria says Hashirama could heal without weaving hand signs, and then on the opposite end of that, it's Madara didn't even copy abilities to the Sharingan because his abilities were just that great. Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's more about like his overall proficiency as a warrior. But I genuinely don't think he has a huge arsenal of jutsu. Funny enough. I mean, granted, when you can make a perfect Susanoo and you can like genjutsu the fucking nine tails to fight for you, you don't really need to go that much further further beyond or whatever. But yeah. Dr. Strangle said the thing that awakened his Mangekyo Sharingan was experiencing the Naruto. Yeah, he saw that episode with the fucking talking ostriches or whatever, and he was just like, no. Oh, I understand now. I'm in hell. He just awakened it at that moment. I should watch that at this point because I keep hearing people talking about it. Okay. So I think it is worth noting that, you know, Kakashi is obviously able to I hate Kabuki got this phrase stuck in my head to tango to tango with Zabuza. I never used to talk like this before I fucking started listening to Powerscaling. But yeah, Kakashi is able to to tango with Zabuza over here. But Zabuza, I wonder if Zabuza would have won if it was just him one-on-one with Kakashi, because he seems to have him at a pretty strong disadvantage over here. Kakashi also, despite having his Sharingan, doesn't realize that there's been something done to the water to alter it and make it more heavy. So I guess he's not good enough with the Sharingan to be able to see that the water has chakra in it, or that Zabuza's like infusing it or using it as part of his jutsu or whatever. I mean, Zabuza in fact calls him gullible, kind of implying that Kakashi, despite having this ability to see through illusions, was still kind of caught off guard and wrapped up within it. So, and he says, okay, well, here's another thing. That prison is inescapable. You're trapped. More and more when I hear people say that X, Y, or Z jutsu basically has like no limit, like it's inescapable or it's unavoidable or whatever else. Actually, look at what they're talking about. I think it's pretty clear that Zabuza means that it's inescapable, according to him, in his opinion, for Kakashi in this moment. Like, if he somehow managed to get Kisame into this water sphere, or even Killer Bee, or fucking Madara, I don't think that we should take this statement that he's saying here literally and say that no character in this situation could escape from it, right? Like, I hope everybody agrees with that. That it doesn't mean it is categorically inescapable. It just means that, like, there's no way that Zabuza thinks Kakashi can get out of this, and he might be right. If Kakashi were on his own, I think there's a pretty strong argument that Zabuza would have just killed him, right? Curious if people agree with that, or if they think that's kind of an edgy take. But like, maybe if like Kakashi uses the Raikiri right here, that and he sends like lightning flowing through the water, it would shock Zabuza and himself, and then Zabuza would like drop his guard. Maybe Kakashi could summon all the dogs at once, and the dogs could like jump out and go bite. Like Kakashi knows 1,000 techniques. There could be some other shit that he could do. Even just like creating a doppelganger and having his doppelganger spawn outside the water sphere, right? Like these are just things I'm thinking of. Kakashi, with all of his genius, he probably could think of some way to get out of it, right? But also maybe not. We'll see. I forget if it doesn't like siphon his chakra away or something. It just keeps him stuck inside. He could have also just been like, hey, I'll give my little kids a chance to do something. I don't know. It's kind of, you can kind of interpret this in different ways. Saria says, further beyond. I'm gonna spare you all trying to do that, but yeah, that's honestly such a great scene. I'm on chapter like 30 of the Dragon Ball Super manga, and I'm already totally overwhelmed by all the different transformations. Is it Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, then like Super Saiyan Blue, or is it the same thing? And then there's Super Saiyan Rose, and it's just like, come on, like, I don't know. I'm having fun with some parts of Super, but also when you compare the like how hard earned and difficult to achieve, it's the same thing, right? But like how dramatic it was to go from to like Kaioken to Super Saiyan, then from Super Saiyan 1 to Super Saiyan 2. It was like getting to Super Saiyan 2 at all was an entire fucking arc, both in terms of like the saga of the manga and also like the character arc for Gohan, right? Like the achievement of the Super Saiyan 2 state was essentially a character study for Gohan in a lot of ways. And then also like the fusion in Super Saiyan 3, kind of like exploring what happens when you go past those limits. They had their consequences and they had their quirks as well. I guess you could argue that in the Buu saga, like you combine that with like Mystic Gohan and stuff like that, there are a lot of different tangential ways that people are trying to achieve like the maximum state of power, and that it kind of gets a little bit jumbled up. It's a little bit much. But to me, that just kind of felt like the last chance to explore like the upper limits of power before the series was over, and it made sense that they would be trying to take different pathways and not just being like, and now it's Super Saiyan 3, now it's Super Saiyan 4, now 5, now like let's fuse and see what happens. Let's have this ritual with this like elder god character and see what happens, right? Different ways of kind of exploring achieving power. But then in Super, so far in Super, it just seems like Super Saiyan 2, 3, 4, 5, right? It's just like constant one-upsmanship. I did really like the Goku like figuring out how to time, basically like get around like hits technique in their first fight with the time anticipation speed thing. That was kind of cool because it wasn't just about raw power, right? It was also about like prediction and timing and stuff like that. There's more skill to it. I like that a lot. Yeah, not that I'm a super expert or anything like that, but I found it kind of fatiguing how many transformations there were and how quickly they were presented, just personally. Darth Megahog said, I think if Kakashi was on his own, he would still have won since he wouldn't have had to babysit. That's fair. You think he kind of... do you think he used them as bait to try to get one over on Zabuza? Or do you think that Zabuza kind of like took him off guard there? You think they would have gone down differently if it was just like the two of them staring each other down? Dr. Strangle said, no, even Shibai would get with that water bottle. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I forget. It does literally, it's verbatim stated, right? It's verbatim stated that it's inescapable. So, I don't mean to slander the gods of the universe over here. Darth Megog says Zabuza is greater than the verse via water. Prison confirmed by John. Yes, exactly. I'm glad we're all on the same page here. So, the next time somebody comes forward with a Kaguya planetary feat, we just know that whatever that the size of that planet is, it's nowhere near as impressive as this. I mean, look, okay, the chakra sensing sphere, when the chakra of the Ten Tails started to like bubble off of it, people said this is literally a planet. The Ten Tails is literally a literal actual planet right now. So we know that water is planets in Naruto. So this is clearly a planet. So this literally means that Zabuza is planetary. And if you don't think so, then you don't understand the author. You're arguing with the author, buddy, not me. Kidding, of course. Darth Magog said Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan. Oh my fucking god. Not to you, to the comic. Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan is Super Saiyan Blue, but then they have Master and Evolved versions with slightly different color palettes. Yeah. It is kind of funny. There's like a scene I think where Goku and Vegeta are realizing how clunky it is to say the like Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, and so they just decide to say Super Saiyan Blue, right? They just like agree to use it as a shorthand, and it's like it is kind of funny. Almost feels like very slightly fourth wall breaky. Okay. So take a drink. 1 second. Okay. Oh yeah, we get this cool moment with the headband for Naruto as well. Kind of cool that Kakashi manages to shout so loud that it bypasses the sphere and is audible outside as well. Although he's kind of running out of air by just shouting like this, right? Like, unless he can breathe. This thing is weird. If he wants to hold me in this water prison, he can't leave this place. So, is he not gonna drown? Is he just basically like trapped, but he can still breathe? I don't know. Like normal humans can hold their some very athletic like swimmers can hold their breath for like what 5, 10, 15 minutes. So. Which I still don't actually believe. Like, there's a part of me that's like that's not possible. But I've seen people do it for at least 5 minutes for sure. Having a little trouble loading here. Damn. Okay. Let me try to reload this. Running a little slow. Okay. Here we go. Nope. Well, this is a little slow over here. It's unfortunate. Maybe it's just this chapter. If we can skip ahead one. It might be that the site is having a little trouble. I did see that people are using like the official Viz site. Maybe I should consider grabbing a membership there. Okay, that's a little unfortunate. Let's just see if this loads and leave it alone for a minute. And hopefully we can come back to it in a second. To kind of keep us busy in the meantime, I did want to just kind of take a look at what the wiki and the Narutoversity have to say, because these are, like, I'm not saying that these are authoritative sources per se, but I do think it's worth kind of putting a finger on the pulse of what the community thinks about these jutsu, about how they work, about their like functionality and all that. So let's just take a minute while this is loading, and or come back to it in a second and go through like the first, let's see how long this is. This isn't too long, so let's go through like the first maybe chunk of this and just see what they have to say. And then if it's still loading, we can go look at the Narutoversity as well. So this is Narutopedia, or the fandom wiki. So many ads are also distracting too. Okay. Darth Magog says, I think the Guinness record is 20 minutes. Wow, that's crazy. That's it's literally difficult for me to believe that people are capable of that. It just seems so extreme, but it's true, isn't it? Like, it's very well documented that people can get over 5 minutes. I mean, I've seen people do it. 20 minutes is insane, but I mean, if it's a world record, then that's kind of not as surprising. Sorry, it says, if you hold your breath for 15 minutes, I'm going to assume you're possessed. Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, like, I wonder how it actually works physiologically, because if your brain is denied oxygen for more than a few minutes, like, you can experience brain damage, right? And brain damage that may not be recoverable from. So how do you do that without losing brain cells? Like, that might have just been stupid what I said. I don't know, but like, it feels to me like some very specific and fundamental change would need to happen in your anatomy to allow for your brain to support that kind of thing. I don't understand how there is enough blood oxygen supplied to the brain over the course of 20 minutes with no oxygen exchange from the outside environment. There must be some way of like getting your some sort of internal oxygen reserve in in your blood or something? Can you condition your blood to hold on to oxygen better? Does that even make any sense? Is it like a genetic thing? Fuck, I'm gonna have to... I genuinely wonder if it's something that you can supplement, like the process by which like blood goes out of your cells, like oxygen enters into your cells and then is like exchanged outward. Like, can that be supplemented or increased or something like that? I don't know. I have no fucking clue. Again, my partner's a doctor. I'm gonna have to ask her after this. But okay, so Naruto.fandom.com wiki Sharingan. The Sharingan, literally meaning copy wheel eye or mirror wheel eye, is the dojutsu Kekkei Genkai of the Uchiha clan that appears selectively among its members. It is regarded as one of the three great dojutsu, the others being the Byakugan and the Rinnegan. While its powers originated from Kaguya Otsutsuki's Rinne Sharingan, its independent form was first manifested by Indra in the or Hagoromo in the anime. Okay. When a wielder of this Kekkei Genkai experiences a powerful emotional condition with regards to a person precious to them, their brain releases a special form of chakra that affects the optic nerves. Oh yeah, that's right. So there is something that I think Tobirama explains that too, right? When he's talking to Sasuke, that something happens in the brain that then releases a special kind of chakra that then affects the eyes. So it's a whole, it's not just an eye based thing, it's actually a whole body thing, like starting in the brain, or not a whole body thing, but it's like it involves multiple body systems, which is interesting. Which then I think you could potentially, you know, you could potentially argue that the reason why Kakashi is, at least in part, not able to use it to its greatest extent is because it's he didn't undergo that whole process, right? His brain didn't change and then make his optic nerve change and then change the eye. He's only got the eyeball. He's only got like the end product of that, as opposed to the whole chain. So it makes sense that he would just like have to work harder to make use of it, right? The emotion can also be positive, driven by a desire to protect or reunite with a loved one. In the anime, it was shown that usually after first acquiring this power, the user's enhanced perception will throw off their timing, causing them to overstress their bodies from trying to keep up with the increased reaction time, forcing the user to adjust to properly move with it. That's kind of cool. I'm surprised that they didn't include that in the manga, because that makes sense. And you know, going back to the noodle stuff that we talked about a while ago, you know, he was talking about how he thought that Naruto couldn't react to his own movement when he got KCM1 for the first time and like ran himself into a wall. I think he said that in his debate with Weeaboo. And at the time I was like, what the fuck does that even mean? That phrasing is so awkward and weird. I think I might have even mentioned that in the Itachi versus Pain video I did. But this is kind of that, right? Like, I don't think this really applies to KCM1, but this feels like it's this feels like it's what Noodles was saying about the KCM1 mode is what they're saying about here. Like, you can't really sync up your perception with your movement, however you want to phrase that exactly, and it requires an adjustment period in order to kind of get used to it. And it's not just because you have an increase of force, like you're not just putting more gas, you know, you just upgraded the engine in your car and you start to drive it and all of a sudden it's like lurching all over the place because you don't know how to control it. It's like your perception is just no longer in sync with your own abilities, and you're causing yourself more stress. So that makes more sense. Saria says, I just noticed your profile picture like goes all noir when you... Oh yeah. It's such a small thing, but it's so cool to me. Yeah, that's... I think it's usually mostly lit up because I usually don't stop fucking yapping for 3.5 hours straight, but yeah, it's set up to react to the incoming volume of my voice. I basically just wanted to have a little something that was animated. I'm still working with an artist, or two artists actually, to get some art for the channel. And when we're done the current project, please enjoy your free fucking advertisement for Dayquil, by the way. When we're onto the next phase of the project, I want to do like a little PNG tuber style thing where I have I don't want to, like, I don't know. I don't want it to be too distracting or like too kitschy or whatever, but I'd like to have a rendition of this character that's done in pixel art, and then have like a couple of different things. So if I'm talking quietly, it's one face. If I'm talking a little bit more loudly, it's a bit more like dramatic. Like maybe you see a couple like feathers flapping in the distance or something with my wings, my wings, the character's wings out, and then like when I'm not talking, he kind of like looks down and is a little quiet or something like that. Just so it's a little bit more dynamic and a little bit not AI generated. But yeah, hopefully, the goal with that picture was to just try to create some kind of animation, for lack of better phrase, to kind of indicate that like, yes, I am actually still here, I'm actually still talking, or when I go away for a second, then it goes dark. So hopefully it's enjoyable, not too distracting. Although if like 6 months later you're just noticing it now, then I guess it's not too distracting, so that's good. Though, has it been, wow, yeah, I think it's been like 8 or 9 months since I started streaming, so that seems about right. 5 or 6 months. Darth Magog says like a Sir Six style. Not sure who that is. Is that a YouTuber? Let's take a look. Oh yeah, is he like oh, is this Patchman? Yeah. I'm gonna mute the video. Oh yeah. Oh cool, yeah. Like animated character. Something like that. I'm sorry, I'm kinda like just tabbing through. Yeah, like a character who has like different reactions or different poses or something like that kind of keeps things interesting as like over the course of the video. Yeah, exactly. This guy actually looks like he's up my alley. I'm going to save this for later. I recognize Patchman because I think that's who this is, right? Like I remember sorry, I'm getting distracted by stuff. I remember, I think Oni Plays or something did a series on, like, they were commenting on Spirit Science and Patchman and stuff like that. It was actually really, really funny. So I need to go to learn about this. But yeah, I think that's the same idea, basically. Sorry, says, I would love to see a bird avatar flapping dramatically when you're talking exaggeratedly. Yes. Yes, I would like to. I'd like to do that. Just have like a couple little gently floating feathers in the background as I'm like freaking out. It'd be fun. I'll see. Hopefully by the end of the year, I'll have that all done. Somebody just sent me some sketches, and I commented on them, and it looks like it's we're making some progress. So I'm excited. Darth Magog says, "LOL, no worries. Vice to Rhino does it too. Cool. Yeah, I'll check that out too. Thank you for the suggestion. Vice Rhino. Is it this guy over here? I'll take a look for later too. Satan destroyed my marriage. Okay, I can't get in this rabbit hole right now, but I'll be curious to check this stuff out afterwards. Thank you. Cool. So yeah, so let's continue with this. Let me see if this is actually loaded yet. Not quite. But it's coming in. Okay, I think there was probably just a server snafu. Okay. Let's just finish with this real quick. Higher control of one's chakra is also required to maintain its power for long. It was also shown during emotional states that begin to trigger the Sharingan's awakening. It can temporarily blur the person's eyesight until finally manifesting. Where's this from? Oh, in Boruto. I don't remember that from... Oh, because I only got up to like 18. Assuming that the user is aware that they have awakened the Sharingan, they thereafter... Blah, 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 blah. First awaken, each Sharingan usually will only have one Tomoe. Which, by the way, I think it is pronounced Tomoe. I've seen people just write it as Tomo. Or say Tomo. But no, it's Tomoe. Although in some cases they immediately gain two. Okay. All the Sharingan's abilities are available to the user from its earliest stage, but with greater development comes greater proficiency with those abilities. Example, with full maturation, the Sharingan's ability to perceive all targets and events around them is fully developed, which can cause the user's movements to drastically differ from their earlier movements if the Sharingan matured mid-battle. Okay, 230. Oh, right, okay. As with any dojutsu, Sharingan can be transplanted into non-Uchiha. They are unable to deactivate it, and its use has a greater chakra demand for them. than actual Uchiha, who only need minimal chakra to keep it active. For those reasons, non-Uchiha tend to cover their Sharingan when they aren't using it, okay? A Sharingan that originate from the same Uchiha are still linked to some extent, okay? Yeah, that makes sense with the Kamui and all that. Okay, so, look up the mammalian diving reflex. Okay, let's try this. The mammalian diving reflex. Oh my god, why can't I talk today? The diving reflex, also known as the diving response or mammalian diving reflex, is a set of physiological responses to immersion that overrides the basic homeostatic reflexes. Oh, cool. And is found in all air-breathing vertebrates studied to date. It optimizes respiration by preferentially distributing oxygen stored to the heart and brain, enabling submersion for an extended time. The diving reflex is exhibited strongly in aquatic animals such as seals, otters, dolphins, and muskrats, and exists as a lesser response in other animals, including, triggered specifically by chilling and wetting the nostrils. Oh, cool. Okay. Cardiovascular system, peripheral vasoconstriction, slowed heart rate. Okay, gotcha. Redirection of blood to the vital organs to conserve oxygen, release of red blood cells stored in the spleen. Okay, yep, that makes sense. And humans' heart rhythm irregularities, although aquatic animals have evolved profound physiological adaptations to conserve oxygen during submersion, the apnea and its duration, bradycardia, vasoconstriction, and redistribution of cardiac output also occur in terrestrial animals as a neural response, but the effects are more profound in natural divers. Very, very cool. I'm going to have to research this more off stream. This looks really cool, but that makes sense. Yeah, I remember learning a bit about like seals and sperm whales and such, like mammals who do deep dives underwater. They actually have like, if I remember correctly, like collapsible rib cages and more like larger and also like spongier organs, so that basically as they dive down into the water, their organs and their rib cage, they sort of compress and like constrict and smush. But they're able to do so relatively comfortably, and that's how they're able to like survive at crushing depths, essentially. And then they have like similar responses like this, where they can, kind of go into a cruising mode, so to speak, and not not consume as much oxygen when they're just like searching for prey at deep levels. Sperm whales are crazy. Yeah. The Sharingan comas, yeah, exactly. Thank you for the pronunciation, because I just called them the Sharingan dots. Oh yeah, that's totally fine. Tomoe are things that show up in other, like, you will just see them in other iconography as well. Like, they show up in fucking. I was playing Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne a little while ago, and oh no, I'm thinking of the Magatama. I'm sorry, but yeah, you'll see Tomoe in different things. Oof, I just got like really tired for no reason. But let's see if we can at least finish the like chapter 13 and like these chapters here. It would be nice to at least get to the, conclusion of this particular fight. Of course, looks like that might not happen. Well, let's just let it do its thing for a sec. So I guess it would still be worth going over some of this stuff over here, right? The Sharingan grants the wielder two broad abilities: the Eye of Insight and the Eye of Hypnotism. Although, oh, that's interesting. Okay, so I was always curious. There's a scene where Jiraiya is when Kisame and Itachi first show up to go after Naruto, and they come to pick him up. And that lady gets, used to try to seduce Jiraiya. And after he breaks free of her wiles or whatever and joins up with Sasuke and Naruto and fucking Kisame and Itachi, obviously, he says, using Saimingan Genjutsu, I can't believe that you would do that, Itachi, or something like that. Or you're going to need something more than Saimingan to win, to get one over on me, something like that, right? And I was like, what the fuck is a Saimingan? Like, it's never ever referred to and I thought it was specifically like I don't remember seeing it anywhere else, and so I thought it was just like, okay, this just means like seduction jutsu or something. Like this is specifically some sort of an infiltration or seduction or mind control technique. But no, I guess it is specifically a hypnosis technique, or gan, right? The gan usually refers to the eye. Like Rinnegan is like the ripple eye, and the Sharingan is the mirror wheel eye. So Saimingan must mean like specifically like hypnotism eye. Okay, I understand. I understand now. This is still a little broken, but we're getting there. Getting there. Okay. And after all that, there wasn't really anything else that I needed from here in the first place. Okay. Actually, wait. I was kind of curious what was at the bottom there. Iruka and Mizuki. These are my first sketches of Iruka and Mizuki. In the final version, Mizuki's bangs are parted in the center, but otherwise he's pretty much the same. Iruka used to have a more evil look around his eyes and sharper cheekbones, but I made him more relaxed and younger looking. One more thing, when I was originally planning who Iruka and Mizuki's teacher was going to be, I decided on the next teacher's name at the same time. If you look in the bottom right corner, you can see some of the names I considered: Kakashi, Scarecrow, Kuwa, Ho, Kama, Scythe, Botan, Peony or Button, and Enoki, a Chinese nettle tree. Looking back at it, though, I'm really glad I used Kakashi. Cool. Nice. Yeah, I love seeing these little panels. I keep skipping over them because I, am so focused on whatever the topic is or whatnot. But I think it's really important to read these things when you come across them, because you learn so much about the creative process. Yeah, I really wish he did show up again. I think he does in the anime. And so like part of me is very skeptical of using the anime in like debates and power scaling conversations and stuff like that, because look, if you've seen the pain fight in the anime versus the pain fight in the manga, they're two completely different fights. I mean, not really, like it's the same characters, the same outcome and everything, but also kinda, yeah, like there's a lot that happens in the anime that doesn't happen in the manga. It's just it's very different. The characters are rendered more differently. Like Pain as a character like loses a lot of his stoicism, and he just gets kind of treated like a goofball and all that. So I don't know, man. I think that it's difficult for me to say like just use the anime interchangeably with the manga or consider it all to be canon. I don't think that really works. But at the same time, like there's some stuff in the anime that they did actually expand on. Like the anime isn't all just filler. It's not all just like useless time wasty filler anyway. And the thing that's really baffling to me at this point is that the Boruto anime is like so different, at least thus far. At least like aesthetically, like they toned way back on Ikemoto's style. Now, I don't really love Ikemoto's style, but at the same time, he clearly went out of his way to. He clearly has like a very defined, unique style, and they just like didn't really give a shit in the about any of that in the anime. Right? They kept it a lot closer to the original, and they focus a lot more on like just little kids going on silly little kid adventures, as opposed to some of the more dire stuff that comes up in the manga. I mean, not exclusively, but still, there's a lot of like, oh no, the mailroom is really messy because there's a ghost in the ghost. we have to come on, guys, let's track down the ghost and save the village from the. And I mean, of course, it turns out to be like connected to Kaguya, and so there's more seriousness to it, but there's also a lot of just like, stuff that feels more familiar to a younger anime audience, I think, than the weird like leather fetish, giraffe footed, like ritual cloning little girls, fucking, I don't know, naked, chunky, bearded. I have a metal sphere that moves around inside my body in uncomfortable ways. Oh, I stored the Hokage in a pot and he's being like tortured in there. Like whatever the fuck is happening in Porto, I don't even know. I used my BDSM gear on trees and squeezed real hard until a bunch of BDSM tree babies showed up, and now they want to eat the people who look like them. Right? None of that stuff is happening yet. Boruto scares me. I'm gonna be honest. We had Tiger Misuki exactly. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if he showed it back up again. I guess we're just supposed to imagine that he like is rotting in jail somewhere in the manga. No. Darth Magog says it's all canon, said Kishimoto, signing the form before turning back to his royalty checks. Yeah. Verbatim stated it's all canon. I mean, that both continuities are, or both canons are canon to themselves. Like, the only thing that I'm like, you can't use, quote unquote, is if there's something in, if you're, fuck. If there's something in the manga that's like, okay, on Monday, Naruto and his friends all said, hey, we have to go to the movies tomorrow, Tuesday, because the new Ultraman movie is out and we're going to go see it. And it's specifically tomorrow. It's only showing tomorrow. So we all have to go, right? And then the same thing happened in the anime. And then immediately after that in the anime, they went on an island adventure for a month. And then they also like fought a demon from literal hell for a month. And then, I don't know, they all had to like go on an ecological survey like Naruto did on the island, and they made that last a month, etc., etc. And then they finally come back, and then they go to the movie the next day. It's like, okay, that doesn't work for me, because there's no fucking way they just crammed through. Like, I know people think about light speed, they believe in like light speed travel and time dilation and stuff like that. There's no way they did all this shit in one day. Okay, this doesn't work. Your own internal inherent continuity is fucking broken. So no, I'm not gonna get on board with that. But other than that, it's like, you know what? As long as nothing totally breaks the verse or like ruins characters or whatever, I would never be a purist and say you only really understand the series if you read the manga, or vice versa. It's more just like, if you're debating or if you're like building arguments, then it's important to understand what your source is, obviously, and to know whether or not your source is reliable, and not to like pick and choose. Not that anybody would ever do that, but you know. My fanfic, Kishimoto said my FNAFic is canon. Is that did you mean to say fanfic, or did you mean to say like Five Nights at Freddy's? Because I love the idea of Kishimoto just being so fucking dumb with it, being like, yeah, fuck it, put Freddy Fazbear in there, put Sonic the Hedgehog and 3 copies of Tails in there, I don't give a fuck anymore. It'd be great. Darth Magog says, I think that Toyotaro Sensei said something similar, also likely while endorsing a check about Dragon Ball. Yeah, probably. And also, like, the fans will be guardians of the franchises too, right? Like, I'm into this with the Halo stuff now, because I'm like getting big into the Halo games and the Halo universe, and I'm reading the books and all that. And like, there are some people who feel that only the Bungie games are canon. There's some people who started playing the games with the 343 series and don't really care about any of that. There are retcons in the more recent games that don't exist in the old ones, and then people from the old games say that the retcons are stupid, but the people who just joined the series, all they know is the stuff in the retcons, and so that's the truth for them, and they like that, and so they're like, the old heads are just being stingy curmudgeons. Meanwhile, the books are doing something a bit different, and apparently the books are like, you know, the original creative team didn't really like the books initially, and like kind of ignored them for a while, but the books were trying really, really hard to be a part of this. Like, I don't know, there's like a whole fucking Game of Thrones drama between the different like timelines, or like a different inheritors of the series over the years. And I'm just like, can we all just get along, man? It's just the Master Chief, he just shoots real good, like. But also, some of the books are just adorable, like Contact Harvest. If you're interested in the Halo universe at all and you can only pick one book to read, I would say read Contact Harvest, because it's kind of the story about the Master Chief and his friends shooting people. Well, not really Chief himself, more like Johnson, but it's also kind of a love story about an Ungoy and Huragok, and how they try to stop the entire war from happening by being good friends, and it just doesn't work. And I don't know, I really really liked it. Even if you don't know anything about Halo, it's a lot of fun as like a popcorn sci-fi book. Um, it's all canon until it isn't. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Saria says, reminds me of the Sonic Everything is Canon, but then they said not Archie Sonic, and then they were like not Dark Chronicles, and then they made a timeline erasing certain games. As long as all the Ken Pender stuff is still canon, including the Echidnaya and the Adventures of Julie Sue or whatever, as long as all that stuff's canon, then I'm good. I'm good. I got no problems. Darth Magog says, honestly, with enough royalty checks, I'll let the fans think whatever they want about canon. I'll keep the good information to myself. Yeah, well, that's the nice thing about being able to read, is that we can just filter things out and kind of come to our own conclusions, right? We don't have to have it all dictated to us by some overlord. Dr. Strangle says, oh, the fanfic. Okay, I understand. Mr. Krabs meme, why did you open up Bastardized sequel right next to the last Bastardized sequel? Money! I like money! Exactly. Oh, Halo, how's it going? Good to see you. Halo 2 isn't canon because the co-op is stupid in that one. I didn't think it was too bad. Mostly I just, the multiplayer experience that I had with Halo 2 was just running around like a jerk and BXRing because it was the only way I could win. I was really bad at it. The college that I went to had a game room with a copy of Halo 2, and whenever I had free time, I would just go in there. And I was never really good at it, but I loved playing, so I would just kind of like run around and hope to either get the battle rifle and BXR my way to a dubious victory, or just wait till the energy sword dropped and then dash at people. Energy sword, Y shotgun would be a useful combo until people realized what I was doing and just like immediately shut me down. But yeah, Halo 2 is great. Halo 3, I mean, like, the series hasn't, the various games have held up, like some have held up really well, some not so much, but I mean, I've played all of them except for, I'm currently finishing ODST. Haven't finished that one yet, which I'm really loving, by the way. I think it's really good. And then I haven't played Wars, and I haven't played Spartan Assault or whatever, or Fireteam Raven. I haven't played those. But at the same time, like, I think each game has something that it offers that is genuinely great, and especially for its time. Like, I don't think the level design of Halo 1 stands up really well. I think it's very outdated. It's not super fun to play, even the remastered edition. But at this point, like, you have to admire, like, what they accomplished for the time. And playing, like, I had like a vacation and I played Halo 1 through 3 back to back over the course of a week or so. And man, the absolute fucking astronomical jump in quality, especially in the campaign between 1 and 3, is just like, it's really shocking, like, how much they accomplished and how much they learned and how much they got better between each of those games. And then Reach comes along, and it's just like such a great way of kind of tying that phase of the story together, and like showing you a different side of everything and linking everything together. And then ODST is like such a weird kind of quirky spin on the whole thing. You have to kind of admire that as well. There's so many really cool ideas in that game. It doesn't feel as grand and as fleshed out as some of the others, but it definitely feels like a worthy entry, telling it's like doing its own thing. So I don't know. 4, the weird thing about 4 is I don't actually remember anything that happened in 4, but I do remember basically being pretty like okay with what happened. 5, I remember having fun. I just don't remember why. 5, the gunplay felt really good. I liked the combat and the maneuvering and sort of like how fluid everything felt. But the squad mechanic was just like really annoying. So I feel like they should have had an option to like opt out of the like pseudo co-op mechanics. I understand they were going for like a squad based thing, kind of similar to Reach, but at the same time, it's just like, can you just like leave me alone? I don't want to have to go like resurrect people, or like if I die, I don't want to get like healed Gears of War style. I just want to like start over. You know what I mean? So anyway, we're we're getting back into the Master Chief versus Space Marine thing. I don't know, man. I think I'll just fall back on my previous thing. So like reading the books, the thing is that, like, Master Chief is more vulnerable, I think, in the books than he is in the games. And it's kind. If you go with that canon, I think I'm leaning more towards Space Marine. If you stack up Master Chief from like the Fall of Reach, for example, or even like the Flood, um, and you compare that to one of the like Space Marines from the even like the standard um, Space Marines, let alone like the Adeptus Astartes or anything like that from fucking one of the Dan Abnett novels. Like, I think Master Chief is more resourceful, and like with Cortana, he just has like an advantage tactically. But power wise, that the armor is really cool. I don't think it's standing up to like more than a couple of bolter rounds, if even that. You know, he'd probably do okay against the Tyranids and shit like that. But I don't know about the other Space Marines now. Sorry, it says you guys can read. Sometimes I only read things with pictures these days, which is kind of sad. But yeah, I can't actually read. No, I read the Kakashi Retsuden. There were no pictures in that. And then I have a lot. I like audiobooks. I listen to a lot of audiobooks too. Um, I listened to an Agatha Christie book randomly. So, Darth Magog says that made too much money. Yeah. Magog said, sorry as Epona, yes, we're Naruto fans and Dragon Ball fans. We're just extremely religious for some reason and can't do math. This is true, yes. I tried to do math and it didn't go very well. Size in hates math but has to do it because physics. Oh, do you really hate math? I'm kind of surprised to hear that. It feels like the way that you're very good at like puzzling things out that have a lot of detail. So I would have expected that you would enjoy math, but I don't know for sure. I actually really like it. I'm just terrible at it because I haven't practiced in years and years. So also love the way that the shading here kind of gives the whole area like sort of an ethereal look to it, like it's being a bit enshrouded in mist. Although it is kind of interesting that Kakashi says it was over the second he caught me. So I think, my speculation before is that if you asked me honestly, if I think Kakashi could get out of this, I would say yes, especially if I hadn't seen this panel, because knowing what we know about Kakashi overall as a person and his like techniques and skills and all that, I don't see it. It feels kind of stupid to me that he wouldn't have at least something in his arsenal of 1,000 jutsu, even if it's literally just like shocking the whole water sphere with Chidori and like electrocuting himself like Sasuke style to get out of it. It feels real, or like all the water jutsu that he uses. It feels really weird to me that he thinks that there is nothing he can do, but that's what he's telling us. So unless he's like testing them or something, I guess we have to go with Zabuza being stronger than him, at least right now. But isn't that weird? Doesn't that feel like really weird? But anyway, I'm going to skip this a little bit. It's also, yeah, I think that the sphere, something weird's going on here with the sphere in general too, because like Kakashi's able to have these long ass conversations without worrying about running out of air. Compare this to the water sphere that Kisame uses later on. Like in a couple moments, like those characters like Lee and Tenten, whoever Neji, are worried about drowning, right? They're worried about running out of oxygen. But here, he's just like casually chatting with him and going through all this elaborate backstory. He's not like flailing around and trying desperately to get out of the sphere. So, I mean, it's weird. This whole scene is kind of weird. But laughs in 175,000 mile Ninja World continent. Yeah. Oh boy. What's the name? I think I know the name for a horse laughing, but I'm not sure, and I don't want to say it out loud in case I get it wrong and I'm stupid. But like, does a horse laugh in horse math used to then calculate said 175,000 75,000 distance? Loa says he got gills under the mask. Maybe he like he saw Kisame once and was like, okay, I'm gonna copy his like fish anatomy. It's possible. No, this is a special chakra encoded ninja mask that lets him breathe in water. Something like that. I don't know. Um, Dr. Strangle says, if, in the novels, if I am not wrong, Master Chef got hit by a plasma pistol and almost dies, and then they put on a different coat of paint made for heat, and the plasma pistol is unable to do anything to it. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I haven't gotten to that yet. I do in the first, the Fall of Reach, which was the first one that came out. I think this is before he got his final Spartan suit. I think this was on Sigma Octanus, and so it wasn't when he had like the full Mjolnir armor with the jackal shield overlay or whatever. But he was with another Spartan, and like a bolt of plasma came at them and just melted off the other Spartan's arm, just like it one shot it, right? And even now, when he's going up against elites with plasma pistols and plasma rifles in the Flood, which is the second book, it's basically just like a retelling of the first game, but just in a book form. He's still like, oh, I see an elite over there. I can't get, my shields won't be able to take too many of those rounds, right? Like, he'll get into engagements with like a hunter, and like the hunter will hit him once, and then his shields will go down and be flashing red, and he'll be like, oh shit, I better go, like, because they do a pretty good job of trying to replicate stuff from the games, in that he does need to actually take cover sometimes. He's not just a god like walking around. Yeah, I haven't gotten to that part with the heat thing, but that makes sense. Sorry, I said I hate math. It was always my weakest subject, but I do our science. That's generally kind of surprising to hear, but also kind of funny. Kakashi, when there's an inconvenience, it's Jover. Yeah, like literally the first thing that, oh no, I have water on me now, I quit. You guys deal with it. I'm slightly moist. I don't want to deal with this anymore. Not to that face. Not to skip over important cool plot details here, but it's getting a little late, so I'm trying to look for oh damn, I forgot about this. Yeah, like Sasuke's all fucked up from a very cursory attack from Zabuza there. Not to mention also, like, I love it when people try to say that Naruto is like, you can't prove that Naruto has high battle IQ or that he's smart or something. And then in like the first serious fight, I guess you can count the Demon Brothers. Well, I guess you can count the Demon Brothers and Mizuki as serious fights. But like the first actual like mission fight, his first like real deployment fight that he was a part of, he comes up with this shit. Like, Kakashi thinks he's dead to rights. Sasuke just got the shit kicked out of him and was like bleeding from the mouth, like, right, like he was like doubled over. And while that happens, while his teacher, Sakura's not doing anything. His teacher is saying, I'm dead, like, this is over, we're fucked. And his like best friend, well, secret wish best friend, who is supposed to be like this super cool kid who's better than him, is now bleeding and doubled over and like coughing from the mouth. And Naruto himself, without any prompting or instruction, comes up with not only this massive doppelganger like field attack, but then also like manages to, while doing that, prep and execute this like double transformation shuriken technique, which Sasuke immediately notices. Also kind of cool, right? That Sasuke manages to, just by touching this, immediately realize that it's a transformed Naruto, or that it's like part of it or whatever. That's pretty cool as well. This is also pretty cool as well. There's a lot of really cool shit that's happening here, right? Anyway. Yeah, smack, ching. They really are the manga onomatopoeia peak. I'll give you a little cheat code for interpreting for interpreting the manga. If you want to know if a battle is really getting serious, look for an onomatopoeia that says barumble. I don't know why. I don't know why, but for some reason, on like a whole bunch of major explosions and major like fight scenes, like big DC fight scenes, there will be um either Viz or I mean presumably Viz, right? Loves to use the onomatopoeia barumble to indicate a massive fucking explosion. So I'll see if I can find one in here. Probably not, because it has to be like a rock-based explosion, I guess. Dr. Strangle says Gen 1 has Mark 1 through 9 variants in Roman numerical. I think it's Mark 5 when they get the coat of paint. Gordon Ramsay 117. Master Chef is currently on Gen 3 armor. Oh, okay, I gotcha. I thought the one that he got when he starts fighting is like, I thought he was in Mark 6 when he starts on the first Halo game, but I don't know. I'm not that deep into the lore yet. Okay, we're gonna have to do a fucking Master Chief versus Madara. Honestly, like, Master Chief would get destroyed by Madara. But well, probably. Fuck. Now that I said that, I know I've like pissed off half the people. But yeah, Barumble, the first one, Aloha. That's exactly right, Barumble. No. But anyway, they pull off this maneuver, and I think so. What's interesting about this also is that Kakashi doesn't seem to realize that this is Naruto yet, right? Like, he's kind of like, what the fuck? He threw two Shuriken at the same time. He's surprised by it. And then we see this happen, and then Naruto pops out, and also Kakashi seems surprised here too. Now, maybe he's just acting, like he's just trying to give Naruto and Sasuke a yeah, that's actually a really good point. Sorry, I don't know if you're coming from much knowledge about the series, but that's something that gets emphasized a lot in the Fall of Reach, is that like John Halo was chosen to be a Spartan because he was lucky, like literally off of a coin flip, and then luck being a part of his skill set is something that comes up again and again and again, and it's part of, I think it's part of the reason why like Captain Keyes trusts him to do this crazy maneuver that basically saves them. So like I think he's like, anybody else this would be fucking stupid, but this guy's super lucky. And so it is, in that universe, like luck is actually a stat. Madara does have like Hashirama cells though, so we know that that's you know, the pinnacle. I love this panel too. Like seeing all of them with their different gadgets and poses and stuff. It's so fucking cool. So Kakashi does seem a little bit surprised. Manages to wound him. That's pretty cool. And now that Kakashi's free, he manages to intercept Zabuza with the Fuma Shuriken and does this. So I think I do want to at least go over the last part of this before we close for tonight. Darth Magog says the plot mostly until he doesn't. Oh yeah, exactly. Okay, so yeah, let's just look at what these guys say, and then I want to specifically go over like the water dragon jutsu, and then we'll probably wrap it up. In the Halo Legends series, Spartan 1337, a Spartan 2, scales to android Sage Gohan, and Master Chief is said to be the average Spartan 2. There's no way. Oh, did you mean Saga Gohan? They actually called the Spartan like Spartan Elite. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm just like, clearly I don't even know what I'm getting myself into here with the with the Halo lore. It's been fun so far though. Saga, okay, yeah, gotcha. Yeah, that's the thing about the Master Chief, is that he's like there are other three people in his squad, like Blue Team I think it is, right? And one of them is like super fast, one of them is super strong, I forget the third one, and then Master Chief is just kind of loyal. He's very loyal, he's very like matter of fact and very mission oriented, task oriented, and he's a good leader. but he isn't necessarily the best at anything else. Like you said, he's kind of average. He just has a higher luck stat, like than some of the other characters do. Oh yeah, no worries about the autocorrect. Yeah, that's kind of funny. So Zabuza says, "You made me fly into such a rage that I unraveled the spell holding the water prison together. No, you didn't drop your own spell. It was broken from without." That's right. He's kind of like begrudging to admit that. The same spell won't work on me twice, right? Yeah, this part here. Okay, so they break apart, and Kakashi's eye immediately starts. Yeah, I think we're seeing the right, and we see the Tomoe look a little bit blurred. So I think we're supposed to imagine that they are supposed to get the impression that they are spinning. It's kind of. Oh, yeah, Spartan Kelly. Yeah. Okay, so you do know about this stuff. For some reason, I thought that you hadn't like had any investment in the Halo stuff. Are you actually like into the franchise? I'm really bad at memorizing people's names. Kurt was said to be an even better leader than Chief. Oh, okay, then yeah. So Chief is just lucky and follows orders real good, I guess. Well, he is like very tenacious as well. Like he just doesn't like take no for an answer essentially once he's been given an order, right? Um, so um, yeah. So this is of course like really fucking cool. I actually think this is even cooler in the anime because you see the them actually go through the sequence of all the different hand signs. And they fire the attack at each other. Water Dragon Missile. Kind of hard to see where one starts and the other ends, but I guess there's one kind of arcing up like this from Kakashi. Sari says, "I'm very, very basic into Halo. I haven't read the books or anything, and I haven't played Halo 5 or Reach." Okay, yeah. I would highly recommend Reach, because Reach is like a bit of a more restricted. He's just John protagonist, I suppose. We're getting like an unreliable narrator thing, I think, from like his depiction in some of the books. Literally, it's like I was playing this for my partner, and there was a passage in the Fall of Reach, I think, where it's like the Master Chief looked up into the enemy's eyes. The Master Chief was the strongest chief and master that had ever been. The Master Chief picked up his rifle. The Master Chief loved the way that the rifle felt. It was secure. It was solid. It was the very essence of patriotism. The UNSC had put this rifle in his hands, and every bullet that came out was a stamp indicating that is a message directly from the UNSC that said, "Die, alien bastards." It's like so like over the top. It's like a like Helldivers propaganda, except not taken with a grain of salt. You know what I mean? It's like very on the nose. So yeah, I think there was a bit of a maybe like a subtle unreliable narrator there, where it's like kind of overhyping him a little bit. He's actually like, okay, I don't want to get too much into Halo. I should do a Halo stream at some point because I actually like quite like the universe and have a lot of thoughts about like the character portrayals and stuff. But he is kind of a doofus, honestly, in the first game. He gets more like expanded on later. But Sarah says, "Oh, I'm very, very basic." Yeah, I was gonna say, highly recommend playing Reach. It's a little bit more contained, a little bit more like less grandiose in scope, but as a result you're focused on fewer characters and you're spending more time seeing like one smaller slice of the overall conflict, and there are moments in it that are genuinely really compelling narratively, and yeah, I would highly recommend checking it out, excuse me. So let's see. Big whoosh of water. Sasuke says, "So many katas performed so quickly, and Master Kakashi mirrored them all flawlessly, instantly." So he's like literally just copying his movements as they happen. Something isn't right. So they start running around each other. Kakashi's like, this almost looks like a yin and yang symbol. So they're running around. Kakashi is mimicking his movements, mirroring them all. All of my moves, my gestures, he sees through them all. Okay, and of course it broke again. So I think hopefully this loads because this is sort of the last thing I wanted to talk about. The whole point of me of me focusing on the Sharingan, in addition to just having something to talk about for the stream, was basically that there still is this misconception about the Sharingan that it gives people whatchamacallit, like future sight. Um, yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Sorry. Can I just reload this? No. Okay. Um, but it gives people future sight, precognition, or precog is what people call it. Sometimes people will call it uh, clairvoyance, etc. And so it's really, I just realized how high Zabuza's pants go up. Jesus, it's really weird. But anyway, point being that the idea is that the Sharingan gives you some sort of future sight, but I don't think it is, and I'll explain why in a second. But this is interesting. Kakashi says he can like see through all of Zabuza's moves. Zabuza says, "What? He's reading my mind." Curse him. He's got that sickeningly evil look in his eye, right? Okay. Shit. I really want this panel specifically. Let me try to reload it one more time. But basically the confusion comes in with there being this idea that the Sharingan lets you see into the future because of things like this, where Kakashi is clearly like predicting what's going to happen next. Later on, it's explained that the reason why this is that the Sharingan gives you a very fine and minute and hyper-focused vision that allows you to see small muscle twitches and movements in a character's body. And so you can learn to read somebody's body language and understand that based on their body language and your understanding of like how they are, how they move, how they fight, how they work as combatants, that they will that they are about to move in a certain way with a certain pattern, and you can predict what they're going to do, and then you can anticipate it, and so it looks like you're seeing into the future, and you can use that to position yourself. You don't even have to like outspeed your opponent to be faster than them or to be more dexterous or skilled or whatever. It gives you a head start, and you can put yourself in their path. It's sort of like vaguely similar to aim dodging, right? Where you're getting yourself in the way of their attack before they get there, or the way of their movement before they get there. And some people think that that means that they can see the future. No, they're just reading like the fine motor movements on their opponent. However, shit like this does kind of muddy the waters because I don't have a good explanation as to why Kakashi is saying this stuff. I guess you could argue that Kakashi can see through Zabuza's mask and see what his mouth is doing and like predict what he's going to say, but Zabuza's not talking here, so that would only apply to like, no, he's not talking here either. Only here. So either Kakashi just knows, he's been in this situation so many times. It's like that scene in Dragon Ball Z Abridged where like the Namekian warriors are talking to Frieza, and they're saying like, we're going to defeat you and 272 and save our village from 368. And okay, what the fuck are you doing? Oh no, it's just that I've heard these tiresome speeches so many times that I've started making a game where I count how many times I've heard them, right? Like, well, we're going to fuck your face. Oh, 12. It's like that sort of thing where he's just predicting what's going to happen, or he's actually able to read his mind. And I wonder if what's happening, since we don't really get like legitimacy type abilities explained to us about the Sharingan later, I wonder if he's put him under some sort of a genjutsu making him think that he's reading his mind, but he's not actually literally doing that. The alternate explanation, if we take it literally, is that yeah, there is some kind of a mind reading ability that the Sharingan imbues him with. And honestly, I don't know what the best explanation is. I think there's evidence for each of those things. I think it having a little bit of a mind reading property makes sense. It certainly makes more sense than him being able to literally see the future. Even though he does literally go on to see, like, I see the future and your future is death. I think that's an intimidation technique. But it's weird. I think that if you are trying to build the case or build the agenda that um, you do get future sight, like literal future sight with the Sharingan, that this is probably your best bet in terms of building that case, because he's basically mind hacking him, and then he's telling him what's gonna happen in the future. Although I think that happens like in chapter 25 or whatever. Okay. Only took us 3 hours to get here. Dr. Strangle said, I've only really read Ghost of Onyx, and I don't know a lot about Spartan 3s. I'm just really into the lore videos. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll have to check them out. I have Ghost of Onyx on my list. I wanted to get through like First Strike and the Flood and everything to get there in sequence, but it's come highly recommended, so I'm going to check it out. Dr. Strangle said, oh yeah, gotta love having multiple authors. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of nice to hear their different perspectives on the series, right? Their different takes and their ways of exploring the universe. But yeah, on the other hand, it's like sometimes hard to maintain consistency between those perspectives. So let's see. It's like a worse version of Spider Sensor Force Insight. Yeah, that could be. It's because it's, I think Kishimoto started off having it be more esoteric and more like the same way with everything being called like spells and stuff like that, and the jutsu caster. I think that perhaps the original intention for the series was that this stuff was going to be a little bit more magical, or at least like preternatural in nature, and then got kind of like made more concrete over time. Like the stuff about the Sharingan started off as like activating with intense emotion, and then it became, oh well, specifically it's your brain activating and releasing chakra and reconfigure. Like it was a little bit more magical, a little bit more esoteric, I think, initially. So it could have been that was his initial intention or vision for how this ability works. Or that maybe this is some kind of genjutsu, right? Like it's some kind of ocular ability that's specifically Kakashi can use to read his opponent's mind, because we don't really see other people do this, and we don't really see other people copy. So maybe Kakashi specifically has like a mind reading / copying ability with the Sharingan that just other people don't. I'm really just speculating here. I'm not sure. Dr. Strangle says, Darth Magog says, yep, you went to that. Sorry, said, he's reading my mind. Literally everyone else, he's doing Sharingan bullshit. Meanwhile, Zabuza, fuck, he's transcending the timeline. It does seem like that. I mean, like, one way or another, he's freaking him the fuck out. So he's, he's doing something correct, I guess you could say. Darth Magog says, I think Kakashi is subtly influencing Zabuza via Sharingan Genjutsu 2 as explained in a later chapter. Yeah, that makes sense. You wouldn't happen to remember what chapter that is, would you? I'd like to learn more about it one way or another. Oh yeah, okay, well we can actually finish this then, thankfully. An interesting thing, says Loha, about the water dragon thing is Kakashi probably wouldn't be able to copy it if somebody like Mei or Tobirama casts it, due to them being able to use fewer signs to cast it, which Kakashi isn't good enough to replicate. Interesting. Yeah, so we were talking about that earlier in the stream. I was curious, so I don't know if you've seen Sage of Thick Calves video on like how many jutsu does Kakashi know. I'm paraphrasing him, so obviously please go watch the video in context and get it directly from him. But the way that he described things in that video, it kind of sounded like he thought that, or actually, let me move it away from like trying to paraphrase somebody else's thoughts. Let me just say this: like, it brought up this idea, this topic. Let's say Kakashi was sitting on a park bench and he was reading a book, and all of a sudden he saw like a water gun bullet like fly overhead. And somebody off screen had cast it. So he didn't see the caster, he didn't see the signs, etc., etc. He just saw the projectile going overhead. And he'd never seen this jutsu before. The question is, would he be able to like turn on his Sharingan, look at the water bullet, and say, oh, okay, that's a water bullet jutsu, I can now cast the water bullet jutsu, right? Is he able to glean how to use the jutsu by looking at the bullet, or would he need to have looked directly at the person while they casted it and seen the hand signs to be able to copy it? And then what does that mean that hand signs are like not used as much later in the series? Does that mean what would that mean for Kakashi's ability to copy it? And I like your answer because it seems like what you're implying, if I understand correctly, is that the more advanced ninja in the series actually use fewer hand signs because they don't need to use as many. Like they are just so good at their jutsu that they can just go like 1 2 3 as opposed to 1 2 3 4 5 like 20, to be able to cast them. In which case, Kakashi could like copy down the sequence that they used, but isn't going to necessarily produce the same jutsu anyway because he's just not as good at it. That's a really cool idea. That's a really cool answer to that like conundrum, so to speak. I like that. Dr. Strangle says the panel's not loading is why I downloaded all the volumes for legal reasons in Minecraft. Exactly. I too should start a Minecraft server in which I maintain copies purely in Minecraft of this manga, which I purchased legally. The thing is, I did actually have a full purchased set of the entire series that I've unfortunately lost, and I'm gradually like rebuilding. But yeah. But that makes sense. I should do that, or I should just get the Viz license. Like I think Lilo has Lilu. Damn it, I keep forgetting. But I think I've seen him and somebody else, maybe Walkie Talkie, using Viz on their streams. And they actually like they spent money for an official account and did it the right way, as opposed to, I would have done that. I actually thought of doing that when I started working on my first videos, but like I just hate the Viz interface so much. Like this is I guess I'm spoiled, but this is the only way I can read like manga now. I hate reading it side to side unless I'm holding it in my hand. But anyway. Darth Magog says, I also find it baffling that Zabuza, the S-class Jonin infamous assassin, roughly Kakashi's age and presumably a war veteran, has never seen a Sharingan before Kakashi. Oh, Zabuza. Yeah, it's, well, I guess it makes sense because it's, like, post-Uchiha Massacre, and maybe if he was just, like, doing stuff in his own village, like, he's around Sasuke's age. Like, he's a little bit older, right? Like, Sasuke's, like, 12, Zabuza's 14 or 16. Like, they're pretty young. And so I guess it makes sense that, he just hasn't run into one yet. But if it were pre-massacre, then yeah, I think that would be even weirder. Darth Magog, chapter 26, where Zabuza explains the Genjutsu. I think, okay, cool. For legal reason, I've also bought off the volumes. Yes, same. I have also bought every single one. At least in the anime, he did. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm gonna skim through this pretty quick because I'm gonna have to go in a sec. But you mimic me like a parrot. I'll close your beak for good. He starts getting all freaked out. This is really cool. So, Kakashi not only manages to copy this is actually a pretty amazing feat. Like, Kakashi manages to not only copy the waterfall technique that Zabuza's about to use, but also, or like, I think he figures out what it's going to be and like casts it preemptively while also casting like this illusion here. So, and then we see the eyes spinning like that, the veen. Before I could even finish my ninjutsu, he used the same technique against me. Yeah. Okay, so this does seem like he's predicting it. Oh wait, 1 second. I gotta restart the soundtrack. Beep. Nice. And this is such a cool panel as well. I foresee your death. Right. So some people would look at this and be like, see, he can literally see the future because he's like predicting his death. Yeah. Yeah, Aloha. I think he's pretty young. Let me see if we can get a shot of him towards the end of this arc. But if not, I can look at the panel there. Yeah, this is. Wait, sorry. Magog said it was at 26. Yeah, let me just look it up here because it's probably easier. That Weave Central's not working super well tonight. It usually does. It's usually great. So let's see. Oh, okay. I was a little off. He's 26. I thought he was much younger than that. My bad. That seems weird to me. I thought he was a teenager. Like he was supposed to be younger than this, but I guess not. I guess he was closer to being a boomer. Yeah, weird. I don't know why I was so off about that. He's still pretty young. That's so weird. Oh yeah, so this is what he looks like when he's unmasked. That's what I was gonna go look for. He's not old. But yeah, no, that's my bad. I really did think he was a teenager, but no, he's clearly a bit older than that. Okay, well there you have it. I'm glad I cleared that up. My bad, my bad. My name is Zabuza Momochi, and I am 15 years old. Yes. Damn, why was it? It's so weird. It feels like I don't know. I don't know where that came from. But thank you for actually asking me to check that because it cleared it up for me. So yeah, not exactly a boomer, but not exactly a zoomer either. Kind of in the middle. Zabuza's Jiputin. Jesus, that's hard to say. Okay, guys. Well, I really appreciate the conversation. Been having a great time talking with y'all. I think I'm gonna call it quits for tonight because I gotta go get some dinner. Gotta get ready for tomorrow. But I again, like it's been super fun. I really appreciate the back and forth. It seems like these streams are working. I know it hasn't exactly been its lecture format with all the spreadsheets and everything, but it's still been a lot of fun. Next week, my goal will be to do so start talking about like Lightspeed and databooks. So it will be a little bit more structured. Obviously, there will always be time for an open-ended discussion, but I'll also have some more specific things that I want to go over and try to debunk or whatever. And if you have any questions in the meantime or anything that you'd be interested in talking about together on a future stream, please let me know. I'm more than open to suggestions. Shout out again to Lilo's Adventure. Great series of streams. I'd highly recommend checking them out. Shout out again to Udi and the Walkie Talkie Podcast and Kamui and all the good folks over there. Please check them out. They have fun streams. I think you guys will enjoy them. And in the meantime, I will see you on Thursday at 7 p.m. for more Claire Obscure, and next weekend at 6 p.m. for more Naruto.